but I don't see him now. He had a microphone.
Well, message him or tell him to come up on Microsoft.
Hey, I can drop off if you need the mic.
No, stay. It's fine. I think we might have enough, but get him back on because actually I'd be curious to talk to him.
Yeah, I can ask my question and drop off the speaker real quick. So my question was for Richard, by the way. I know somebody filed a suit to get the arbitration clause negated. Can't remember who it was. And my question is, depending on the cost for the case, right? Is it possible that case, if that person succeeds in negating the arbitration clause for his brokerage, and depending on the situation, that could basically negate the arbitration clause for all brokerages specific to this ticker?
So I don't know. I haven't seen the motion. I don't know where it's filed, but that's probably the issue. Is every jurisdiction, every state, every federal court will have their own rules, and at a judge level, that's just a decision of a judge, and each case is going to be determined on a fact-by-fact basis. The only way it would have precedence covering all cases is if there was a decision by a judge, somebody took it up on appeal, and then there was a
Did he cut or am I cutting?
I think he cut off.
Yeah, something happened there.
Richard.
All right, I'm going to give up my mic so that
Hold
people can get in.
on. Let me
Okay.
let me get Richard back.
I'm gonna have to change my name because you got more than one Richard.
Yeah, Richard cut off. Give me a second. I'll go get him.
You're the Richard I don't want to meet in the back alley.
What are you talking about? Why
You know-
doing it?
You know what I'm talking about.
Take it easy. Take it fucking easy.
everybody get along.
All right. I shot him a message.
I'm singing Kumbaya right now.
Okay, he's back.
Yeah, so I'm sorry, I got cut off. So it would have to go up to an appellate court. Appellate court would, if they issued an opinion, that would apply to all shareholders. But just a case by case, you can cite it as an example, but it doesn't have precedent by itself.
Gotcha. And also, how important is it to, at least for us, right, shareholders, how important is it to get the arbitration negated, right?
It's very helpful because it's going to be slanted in favor of the securities companies if it goes to arbitration, and usually the results are much less in favor of the plaintiff, and that's designed as such. That's the way they want it.
And is Rosa's case in any way, does her case in any way, directly or indirectly, have an impact on arbitration?
I haven't followed her case that carefully other than through these spaces, but my understanding, she is seeking injunctive relief and not damages. So her position would be that injunctive relief is not covered by an arbitration provision.
Gotcha. Thanks, Richard.
Sure.
All right. Tim, then Michael, then Richard.
Hey, this question is for Richard Hoffman. It's kind of a side note. I got some other, legal avenues, but just curious to know, in your opinion, might MMAT Materials, the company, and/or shareholders also have a claim of action if this fraud is proven? Just because of what's happened to the share price.
Yeah, I believe 100%. And in the action I filed, I cited MMAT as a victim of fraud also. I didn't bring it, wasn't seeking damages yet for the losses caused to MMAT, but I think it's directly correlated.
Okay, cool. So also, from what I can see, Rosa's case, it's citing 12 USC subsection 22 in Justicia. It's saying securities fraud, but when I looked that up, it comes up as it doesn't come up as securities fraud. Are you familiar with that?
I haven't read her complaint in total, but even if you miscite something in a complaint, you have the opportunity to correct any particular errors, and it's not going to be critical in the end.
Okay, Roger. And is my understanding correct? You have a case in California. Is that one of the other attorneys?
No, that is me.
Okay, and are you citing like Title 15 USC 78J, manipulative and deceptive devices, Title 17 CFR 240-10D-5. Let's see, there's some other provisions regarding to wire fraud, bank fraud. I know you mentioned money laundering and tax evasion. Are you citing all those different legal avenues?
My claim is fraud based and RICO based, so I'm pursuing a claim based upon racketeering,
Okay,
influence and corruption. The other securities claims are fine, but I'm trying to peel the onion one step at a time. So I'm kind of going to pull in parties as it's applicable, and I'm going to amend the pleadings as it applies to each new party. So I started off with Fidelity, then I brought in FINRA, and then I brought in DTCC. I'm just going to continue bringing in parties as it goes, because that's the most efficient way for me.
Okay, makes sense. Because when I go into the SEC.gov site and look at all the information, the key points they have regarding naked short selling, it looks like in those cases that are cited, it looks like the most success that has been had was with regard to the closeout provisions and securities that were on threshold lists and not closed out.
I don't disagree.
Nothing wrong. Yeah. If I had a little more time, I could go a little deeper, but I'll move on for now. Thanks, Richard.
Good luck.
Mahalo. Thank you.
All right, Michael, you're up.
Hey, I'll keep this short, but I had done some reflecting, and it seems like we've forgotten almost because we have these spaces every day and we're on for hours a day and we have all this conjecture, but in the end what just happened in the last few days and everything that we've agreed on, and we're like, okay, that should have been done on the 14th. I still have no idea what happened in 2 weeks time, because it seems like we had thought this was happening in the background. They were doing this and they were doing that, but after 2 weeks they were doing what they were supposed to do in 2 days. What happened to those 2 weeks? What was happening? We had conjecture, but obviously it just ended up being what they should have done in the first place. Anyone else think about that?
Well, I can tell you, once the 14th passed, I took action. I filed my action on the 15th. So I gave them a drop dead date, and they didn't apply, they didn't deliver, and that was enough for me. I don't really care what they did afterwards. I just know that there's been no resolution, and that's not the correct way to resolve the problem.
Yeah, I was thinking about all the things that we thought they were doing and what they could have been doing, and all the reconciliation. But in the end, it just seems like they were just sitting on their hands for 2 weeks, and we were making excuses for them.
Well, I don't give them that break. I presume that somebody who defrauds you, I presume that that's their future intention too. So I don't give them a break until they act in an appropriate way. I'm just going to consider they're going to try to fuck us all the way. I'm going to act accordingly.
Yeah, I agree.
Hey, Richard, I just wanted to say thank you for your aggressiveness and your perseverance on this matter. Outside of being an MMTLP shareholder, just want to say thank you.
Yeah, no, it's my pleasure. I'm a retail shareholder and, we've gotten screwed too long.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, if just to bounce off that, this isn't just here. Like you said, you're a retail shareholder. Well, that's not the only thing your hold that's getting shafted. That's the problem here, right? I mean, I go back and I look at RE GTS, and you look at all the they're a in market make IPOs, and you look at every IPO that they've IPO'd almost without every one of them's tanked into the ground. I mean, all this stuff is just like you can't win, and this is why right here.
Hey, Marduk, as much as I could appreciate all the keyboard noises,
Yeah. You don't have to break that keyboard, but
Dude, I love that keyboard. That's like,
you should feel like going on hard on this keyboard.
he's like, I'm taking notes. I got this.
What can I say? I'm a keyboard warrior.
I think he's doing internet searches for back pain.
No, I'm actually just dispelling some FUD that some bears decided to smear on my post. It's all right.
Hi, Richard, you're up. Richard?
Hey, Fizz, you're up. Hey, Fizzuglio. Wonder what happened. Yeah, we'll come back to him. He has his hand up. Maybe he's stepped away. Next.
Fishing on credit, go ahead.
No, I'm fucking here.
Oh, sorry, Richard.
I'm here.
Go ahead, I'll be next.
Oh, hey, how you doing, guys? Hey, just wanted to say a couple of things. I'm a little pissed off about the little things. Well, I appreciate each and every one of you. I think you're doing a great cause. I'm up 24/7. My ex-wife is fucking, soon to be ex-wife. I'm going to get divorced over this because I'm up 24 hours a day listening. But you know what? You all have gems of wisdom and very smart things that you're talking about. Now, I made a comment yesterday that I got a lot of DMs, and I got to tell you, I'm very upset with them. If I want to donate whatever shares I fucking have in my fucking name to them, that's my fucking business. None of yours. And who the fuck are you to tell me I'm a piece of shit? And I gotta be honest with you. I got a lot of DMs of all this community. And that really makes me say, take a step back, Richard. What the fuck? That's my decision. Nobody else's. I made that decision. I made it publicly stated. And I will, if somebody did kill themselves, yes, I will give that to the family. And Marduk and anybody else, Edward, whoever the fuck, I don't care. You can watch it. And I will do it. Because I'm a man of my fucking word. And that's all I gotta say. But I will tell you this. This will be over before January. By the end of January, this is going to be over. And, I listen to everybody. I listen to them all, and I write it all down. As the house mocked me one day, me in the house, I'm going to see him in Florida. I write it all down. It's all going to come to a head. It's going to come to a head soon. They don't want this, like everybody else has been before me. They don't want this to come out. So whether we get $25 a share, $50 a share, $75 a share, plus a share of this, it's what it is. It's what it is. You know what? Listen, I wanted the big money. And if the big money's not there, it's not there today. It'll be there in the future. Stop using a closed-end mind. It'll be there in the future. Future will be there. We own oil. We own gas. We own this. And Marduk is the best. It's the fucking best. He's a genius. He's a genius. You just gotta be patient. You gotta let it play out. Just let this fucking thing play out. You know, rich fucker, I know. First one also says, look, I'm in the car business. I know. That's the first fucking thing they teach you. But you have to see the forest through the trees. That's the key. The forest through the trees. And we all have to just sit back, take a second back and relax. Yeah, we could call FINRA. Yeah, we could call this. We could call that. We could call this one every fucking day. That's good. That's good. But there'll be a settlement. And it's coming. And I guarantee you it'll be for end of fucking January. And whether you like it or not, okay, it is what it is. And we own oil. And we own gas.
Sorry to interrupt you, Richard. I appreciate you, man.
I'm
Thank
done.
you for your kind words.
I'm done.
Yeah, what I find interesting is we all have all these speculations, and ultimately at the end of it all, some of us are going to be right, whatever that outcome may be, only simply because we're in here discussing all possible outcomes, or at least we're trying to.
Let me just step in for a second. If someone can drop off, Izzy wants to address Richard's concern, and I'll bring you guys back up on the speaker.
Well, I'm here, so you can address my concerns.
Yeah, but he doesn't have a microphone, so give me a sec. I'll just get him as a speaker.
Take mine, I'll drop
You
it
can
and
give
I'll.
him my mic. You can give him my mic. I don't care.
Hey, Richard. So I heard you yesterday speak on this topic, and I got together with Elf in the background, and I wanted to DM you in regards to this. So I'm gonna do some investigating, see if I could find out who the family is. And her and I agreed to try to set up something with the community. And again, this is just Elf and I speaking in the backgrounds. If it is true that some family member here took their life, we are going to set up a GoFundMe for that family after all is said and done, or even beforehand. But let me do some investigating on who this person actually is. If it is
so
true.
why did I get some DMs in my thing telling me what a piece of shit I am?
Listen, I can't control anybody that's DMing you and doing that, and I don't condone that. That is really horrible, because if you're coming out of your pocket 500 shares, then people in this community should not be doing that. And if they're doing that, they're not for the cost then. And I apologize on our behalf. But just to let you know that not everybody is the way that you think they are in the DMs, treating you in that manner. But I'm just letting you know that I am taking the initiative of trying to investigate to see who this family member is that took their life. And if anybody has any information, please DM me, because I am trying to locate this person. Thank you.
Hey, Richard, before
you.
you guys continue, Richard, I want to give you my experience over the last 10 years in regards to what you're experiencing right now. And this is designed to mess with your head and your emotions. And it's very important that you don't allow it to manipulate your behavior.
No, I won't let this come. This is not going to mess with my emotions. Listen to me. Pay attention. I'm telling you, I'm in the fight. I'm in the fight to the end. This is now, you know what? Listen, let's call it a fake. Let's call it a fake. I don't care. I'm in the fight to the end. And I want justice. No, yeah, Ari's head and the fucking thing and that thing. It's not going to happen, okay? Let's be realistic. We're going to get a settlement, and that's what's going to happen. And they want to shut us up. So the fight is, if after the settlement we keep going, that's the fight. And then we keep going, and we forge ahead, and we say, this can't stop. This is not going to stop. And we move on. And we keep fighting until the end, like that fucking Queen song, to the end, right? That's how we got to go. Now, you know what? Listen, maybe I said too much. I don't know. I talked to Alan earlier. He told me not to get on this fucking call. But anyway. I'm just very pissed off. I'm very pissed off at the negative fucking people that you all chime into this call and you shit on me. I'm done with that. So that's all.
Yeah.
bro. Well,
Yeah,
listen,
honestly,
you do what
you know what?
bro.
No, I gotta say this now. Richard, my belief is that these people that have been messaging you have been in here and they heard you get emotional last night. My belief is that the people that were messaging you were short sellers who were trying to get under your skin. Okay? We know that they prey on people, right? It's not nothing new, man. And I know as from one Italian to another, we care about family. And when we lose a family member, it hits us hard. So I get it. I get that. And it's bugging me too. We are going to find out if true, right? We also don't even know if this is true. We would hope that it's not. On the case that it is, we will be looking to find out who it was and doing what we can to help them. But in the meantime, if you see anybody saying negative things to you in your DMs, just block them. Put them out of your life, out of your conscience. We don't need these negative energies. And truthfully, I don't even think they are a part of the cause. I think they're just disruptors that like to hang out in here. But if there's anything I can say, Rich, is like, I know you got a good heart, man. I can hear it in your words, in your voice. And the pictures you sent me of your, your x-rays, brother, I feel you, man. I thank you for everything that you've done for us. You're a true hero among our community, and we appreciate you.
Thank you, Matuka. I'm just I'm one little voice amongst a million, maybe 1,000, maybe 50,000, 53, or maybe 165. I don't know. But let's move smart. Everybody's got a theory.
Hey, Rich. Hey,
Move
Richard.
strategic. Sorry, Rapesh. Like, this is psychological warfare. What Martin said is 100% correct. People heard your story. People just want to come in. They're literally getting paid. All the shows, they get paid for every interaction. Okay? So, fuck what they say. You have a plan. You have a plan. You do it. You're going to do it. Your money. You understand? First, let's get this shit done. I agree with you 100%. The calling of FINRA, everything, it all helps, but it's already too late for them. They're gonna have to settle. They can't continue on with this going on. So but as far as bullying me, real metafam ain't gonna hit you up and say you're an asshole, fuck you, something over something serious like that. Allegedly, if it happened, okay. And I love the way you talk. I like the way you talk. You're passionate, but just remember, this is a fucking psychological war, bro. Psychological war, cause you gotta know 48 laws of power type shit. That's what this is about, dude.
I love my fucking New Yorkers, man. I love my fucking New Yorkers.
I understand what you're saying. I hear you. But to get DMs after I joined, that really pissed me off. That's
Put them on blast, dude, and let's call them out.
I'm
Yeah,
not putting
yeah,
them
yeah,
on
blast.
You know,
Give
I
me the
told
name.
it.
Give me the names. Give me the names.
I want names, Richard. I want names.
Guys, we're all talking over
I'm
each
just
other
kidding.
now. We're all talking over each other now. Let's just keep this organized again, all right? And we'll address it with the raise of a hand as we do in school back in the day. All right, thank you.
I talked to Alan earlier. He told me not to fucking call in tonight. He said, you're too emotional, you're too crazy, and you're gonna get fucking nuts. I said, yeah, well, okay. Well, that's what it is. And you know what? I am. I'm too attached to this, not because I'm a small fucking guy with the shareholders. You might as well wipe my ass with toilet paper, as Ferran would say. But I'm fighting the fight because what's right is right and what is wrong is wrong. And I'm going to tell you right now, I believe there'll be a settlement and we're not all going to be happy about it. And that's all I'm going to say. I will pass my mic over to somebody else and I will listen for the next 4 hours. Thank you.
Thanks, Richard. We truly do appreciate you, and don't let this get to your head. Just remember this. This is really the crucial part. Don't let them get the better of your emotions. We're all in this together.
I hate to interrupt. I'm sorry. I said I was going to leave. One more DM to tell me go fuck myself. Then I'm going to go fucking nuts.
Close and
You're gonna go nuts then, because it's not gonna stop. That's what I'm trying to tell you. This is not going to stop. All right, this is psychological warfare. All right,
Richard. So let me just say this. They are listening and they know you're an easy target now. So what I need you to do is go close your inbox messages, even if it's just for the next month. Okay? I need you more than ever. And I need you to do this favor for me. I need you to do me a favor. I need you to go shut your inbox down so that people can't message you. Ignore them. You know what? You want to come talk to us? The people who matter the most are the ones who are on the microphone here. Nothing to the people listening in. But I mean, you're going to hear our voice, and that's the only people you should be talking with right now. So please do me a favor and do not open that inbox. There's a setting. You can set an option that people can't message you.
You can let Marduk, number 2 pencil, Gandalf, Busy, you know.
All right, hold on. Make me an offer you can't refuse. Hold on 1 second.
You know who the good guys and gals are here.
I love you all. Likewise, bro.
Roger that.
Deep breaths. Happy New Year, by the way, pal. The horse will be in their fucking bed soon, trust me.
All right, guys, we'll cycle through because we're getting a lot of microphone requests now, and Fishin has had his.
You can drop my mic. Thank you.
Thanks, Richard. We truly appreciate you.
Ed, real fast, I'll drop my mic, but can I just ask a question? Like, all joking aside, I apologize. I just, it's about the, I wasn't paying attention, but, now, what's this ACAT stuff about? So ACAT?
That's the way.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, not at all. But it's a way to direct register your shares. It depends on the broker as to what system they actually can use, right? DRSing, ACAT system. Go ahead, Edward. I was just gonna. It's just a way of eventually being able to redirect your shares back to AST in your name from your broker in street name into your name at AST.
Oh, okay. Would I have to, now they say that the bus is full with AST, it's pretty coincidental.
Let me just interrupt you here.
Okay.
There is nothing confirmed that AST is full. There is just speculation. There was no public confirmation that AST is full.
Thank you for telling me that, because I spoke to her the other day. I'm in Queens. They're in Brooklyn. I spoke to a very nice lady, and right now it's on pause. But I basically told her, like, can I get on some kind of list or something like that? And she basically just took my name, and she said that my brokerage would take care of it. And
so essentially, if you choose, Chris, if you want to send your shares to AST, you need to request your personal broker. You need to tell them that I would like to transfer my shares to AST via ACAT.
Hey, Chris. I also put up a post a few days ago Kind of just it's just from Investopedia, but it's like all like there for you to kind of understand what ACATS is. I just pinned it to the top.
Yeah, I appreciate that, bro. Yeah, cool. Yeah, and there's probably going to be a transfer fee if I request it out of the brokerage, correct? They're probably going to bang me out on the way out, literally, right?
Not necessarily. This is Russ. So I was doing a lot of research on it, and most companies, I know for a fact TD Ameritrade, because that's the one I was checking out, and Schwab, if you transfer your entire account, they will out of TD Ameritrade, they will charge you $75. But if you transfer partial account, they charge you nothing. And Schwab charges nothing either way. So you could check with your broker. Most of them, unless you're closing your account and transferring everything out, they won't charge you to DRS.
Yeah, it says here that some brokerages charge existing customers a fee to ACAT assets out of their account to a new brokerage. This fee can be as high as $100 or more per transfer, but once again, it says some brokerages.
Yeah.
Brokerage firms charge this fee to make it more costly to close the account and move assets elsewhere. Not all brokerages charge these fees. Yeah. So,
and that's why they say if you do all your accounts. So technically, by the rules, if MMTLP was the only thing you had there, you could transfer all but one share out, and they wouldn't charge you.
Yeah, like mine, I believe is I think it's $75 per transfer. So I guess I would have to pay that $75, and I would obviously just move them all. I mean, whatever. Right now, I'm just leaving them where they are.
Or move them all but one share. Leave one share there, and then they won't charge you. If it's CDA, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I actually deal with I have a Mumu account or whatever, and. No big deal, but and also now when someone said DRS, it's not technically a DRS because it's not going through the DTCC, so it would just go, I guess, broker to transfer agent, correct? Stumped the room, huh?
you're taking everybody's breath away, Chris.
I was like, did I lose the room? What happened?
Can I talk for a minute?
Okay, hey, guys. Okay, I'm really sorry to interrupt everyone here, but Fish had his hand up for a long time, and Chris, no disrespect.
Right,
but you said,
what's up, bro? Yeah, I'm gonna get off.
I had a small question, and it seems to be so many questions, so I want to get back to Fish.
No, that was it. Thank you, bro. I appreciate it. Everyone, Happy New Year. Take care, man. Appreciate the answer.
Happy New Year, Chris.
Marduk, my guy. Take care, buddy.
Hey, thanks for calling on me. Real quick, I know the name's kind of deceiving and my voice is really, really ambidextrous, but it's actually she. But anyway, this is not really so much a question as I guess right now I'm going to be like the court jester to a degree. I want to I don't know if anybody knows anything about copyright, whatever. I've been kind of playing around with a song and doing some lyric swapping, and I want to throw some people's names in there. And I've got I guess we'll call it the first chorus kind of figured out, but I don't know, it may never go anywhere, but I feel like the song that I chose, and I can't sing, but I just, if you guys would just put in your heads the melody Billionaire by Bruno Mars, and then hear me out. The future matter millionaires are so fucking mad, but this time not at Kenny Boy or Glad. We'll be on the cover of Forbes magazine. R.P. Yonkers, Smokey, and the Queen. Oh, every time we hear their lies, they reinforce our will to fight. A badass face call every night. Shorty, beware. That's right, I said beware of future meta millionaires. And then it kind of goes, we may not have shows like Oprah, but we can be the host of videos and calls where we can be the roasters. And that's where I stopped. And I want to go on with this, but I want you guys to say yes. Throw my name in there. Absolutely, we're good with that. And
Are
I
you
want to write
friends
this
with
whole
the
fucking
Gorillionaires by any chance?
song. I'm sorry?
Are you like secretly buddies with the Gorillionaires by any chance, and you haven't come forward to this fucking?
No, I'm a little Florida girl down here, down a fucking gummy rabbit hole, drinking some beers on New Year's Day, and I mean I don't have the most intelligent things to contribute, but I mean I'm having a great time rewriting this song, and if you guys don't mind if I throw your names on it, I will try to get everybody who is in these calls.
You can put my name on it.
Richard, man, I just real quick, I want to actually address you personally. My heart goes out to you 100%, brother. If I could get to you and give you a hug, I 100% would. I love your heart. I'm sorry your soul hurts. All of our souls hurt to a degree right now, but I promise you this is our year, and it's going to be okay. And if you need to fucking talk to somebody fishing on credit, next year we can fucking buy bait, brother. Let's go. You know what I'm saying? So everybody here has got you.
Fishing. That's my passion. I love fishing. Don't worry about it. I had a fishing business called tunafish.com. We went in a lot of shark and tuna fishing. So now maybe I gotta learn to catch the little fish, because I think the little fish is how you get to the big fish.
I've been fishing on credit my whole life. I'm ready to buy some bait, and I think that this is the play to get us there. So if you guys don't mind if I throw your names on that song somewhere, it might never go anywhere but a fucking Twitter post. But if you're cool with it, I'm gonna keep writing.
Well,
and that's all I really had tonight. So thanks.
So actually, I want to say something. Every single person here in this community has a certain talent and a certain gift that was given to them. So there's no such talent as being more significant than the other, and that's exactly what we're doing here. Every single person is bringing in a certain aspect, a different perspective for this, and we're going to use all of these talents together and bringing much more awareness about the situation, whether it's through comics or whether it's through music or whether it's through numbers, or whether it's through tech, whether it's through IT, and the list just goes on and on and on and on and on. And this is just, this in itself is the perfect example of how much and strong of a community we are.
I'm sorry, Fishin. I do want to add, and this is pretty important. My brother is actually a pretty well-known music producer here in my city and around Ontario. He did an internship at Phase One in Toronto, where like Rush and Tragically Hip have recorded. He's got a lot of work that I would love to share with you guys at some point. But yeah, if at any point we do music, we can always send files to him, and I can pay him for his time to put everything together.
Yeah, like I would throw money at that too. Like I mean I know there's all kinds of copyright infringements and this and that's and all that. I just like, to me, like that's the perfect song to rewrite for our situation. And like
I have a great song. You fucked my Christmas.
Hey, Richard,
Richard,
you're interrupting someone else speaking. Sorry, buddy.
I understand his passion. I mean, that makes me feel better, and I hope it made you guys feel better. And if I can throw Marduk and Gandalf and the pencil and Richard and everybody else who's on here, and I'll probably leave your name on, I apologize. I'll get them, D and J. I'll roll through these space calls and find all the names that need to and I want to and should be in this. And I'm gonna rewrite the whole song if you guys are cool with it, and then I'll post it up. And if we can figure out a way to actually get Bruno to be like, hell yeah.
And I'm pretty confident that we have.
I wanna be a billionaire, so bad.
What about what happened with Africa, right? Everybody sang that song. Why can't we sing our song?
Well, we gotta get that okay for Bruno first, but I just want to thank you guys for everything. Happy New Year. I know we got one more day to wait, but you know what? They've only got one more day to wait too, and we're on the better side of this. So see you guys on the moon. Peace, and I'll drop my mic.
Have a good. Thanks so much, Fishing.
Thanks.
All right, let's go with Cook.
Hey, first and foremost, I want to say a Merry New Year. Second, yo, we've been in this space since the 9th. I started on the 9th. I ain't gonna lie, with Twitter, but people see my face around on all kinds of platforms. On the 9th, I started here. But we need to, as a family, sit here and realize the voices that we're hearing now after we get information is getting a lot of East New York and all this other stuff. Like, yo, come on, man. Like, yo, look, we know what we have. A lot of people, and I've been wanting to say this, we need like a 3-minute time limit on all speakers except for hosts. Because a lot of people be holding the mics for no reason and just interrupt other people and everything else. But I regress. We're on the right side of the play. We know what we got. We brought the unicorn riding on the black swan's back. Yeah, we here. And that's why we got all these randoms in here. You know what I'm saying? Buffett. Listen to Buffett. Patience.
It's a fucking random.
And maybe you because you're talking. You know what I'm saying?
Point it out.
Family. Like I said, we here. We know what we got. Don't let them outsiders come and interfere with what we got going on. God bless.
Thanks, Cook. Appreciate the message.
Good evening, guys.
Hey, Jamal.
What we're trying to find out is what's our plan for this week, this trading week coming up. I know we have been doing the list, trying to find out how much shares the community has. But other than that, what is the plan for this week?
I can twiddle my thumbs and kick my feet up. Yeah, well, well, yeah. Not really, but pretty much. Nothing I can do. Sorry. No, go ahead, Pencil.
No, biggie. I was just gonna tell him, mentioned earlier, Tuesdays, holidays are all over. The 2 weeks of the whole FINRA's gone, SEC's gone, this, that, the other. It's the start of a new year. Tuesday is a clean start to a short week, but everybody is back to work. We're gonna see what happens.
I got an idea what we could do this week. Hopefully Huckleberry gets back to us with some confirmation if he's going to be able to record the call with Shapiro tomorrow, because that would be really awesome when we can all sit in and take notes. especially if Rosa and Damsker are there and Berta's going to be there. Oh man, that is going to be one hell of an interview, man. So looking forward to that, and we can focus on other stuff because the market won't be open tomorrow, right? So just like last Monday, when we had Berta throughout the day to come in and answer some questions, we're gonna have a little bit more focus tomorrow as well, because obviously there will be no trading. So I think the goal for this week is to really do our best to utilize the time we have tomorrow to organize kind of a game, not like really a game plan, but like moving forward, ideas and organization, and just tightening up all those loose ends. You know what I mean?
Yeah, refresher course for the week.
Yeah.
All right, that sounds great, guys. I'm gonna
And
take off the mic now. Thanks.
Don't forget all those calls at noon to the SEC. Listen to him.
Yeah, that's something we can also do too. So somebody or I'm gonna go grab those numbers for like FINRA and SEC, and Monday, Wednesday, Friday at noon, right? Get them at lunchtime. Yeah, one of the two. So Monday, Wednesday, Friday, the one, Tuesday, Thursday, the other. I don't mean to, like, this isn't financial advice or like legal advice or advice of any kind. You know, I'm not trying to tell you what to do. I mean, you are your own individual. You have free will to do whatever you want with your lunch hour. Just putting it out there as a thought. Ham did bring it up. I think it's a hilarious idea that's incredibly effective. You know, just bombard the office with phone calls at lunchtime. Like, why not? Absolutely. Nothing wrong with it. You're on your lunch break. It's perfect. It makes perfect sense. If you can't consider it like, I'm on my lunch break and it's the only time I have available during the day to call. Exactly. Like, what? Oh, you're colluding. No, we're not. We're on our lunch breaks. Anyway.
Hey, also, don't we, aren't there some, presentations at the end of the week? The CES?
Hey, no, that I don't know. Sorry.
No, you are right.
So for the best. That's all.
Thursday the 5th and until Sunday the 8th. So we got two trading days worth of like new people finding out about it. Like, it's gonna get exciting over the weekend. I anticipate what we got here. So we've got a short week. So we've got from the 3rd to the 6th, and then from Monday the 9th to the 13th. I could see us picking some steam back up for the week. I don't know, man. Anything's possible. MMAT doesn't necessarily need anything to materialize from MMTLP to make a move. We are like, here, let me just go back to the chart because I literally have it still pulled up. So on the 27th, we bottomed out at 93 cents pre post market. Remember when I said we filled that $1.07 gap, right? I'd posted it. Not everybody saw the picture, but the following day, after we dropped, like, it was like 9.8%, we ran back up out the gate and hit a high of day by 10. not even 10, 9:45, we closed out at a high of $1.09. And then we proceeded to build support along that $1.07 gap fill, like pretty much the whole first half of the day. And then we stepped up another like couple, what was it? I think we stepped up another penny or two, and then just consolidated pretty much all day until we started ripping again. I mean, we're building that momentum back up and very, very quickly. Healthy retrace on the 29th was, what was that, Thursday, right? And then started climbing back up Friday. And the moving averages still look really good. In fact, the way we closed post market, just a nice bull flag. Friday we came out the gate, we rallied up to like $1.18, 19. I think it was like $8.19 on the high. And we shaped out like a nice handle for the cup that we made between Friday and Thursday. So honestly, no, the chart looks good. I honestly see us getting a little bit of movement pre-market come Tuesday. It'll probably get shut down because it's a short week, but definitely building up to CES and then going into the 9th through 13th before we have that big options chain. Things could get a little spicy, regardless of whatever happened. Truthfully, even just if like Rose's, even if Rose's case makes any more progression, little shit like that will feed into MMAT's like pressure, right? Because we see things starting to materialize and the pressure is continuing to be put on these short positions, right? And so I don't know, like you got to stay the course, have some faith, because there's the people that are taking care of this and are on our side and have like invested interest in this company, in this play. Like we're in good hands. I don't know if I can't stress it enough. So I wouldn't sweat it too much. I mean, as difficult as this time has been, like the proof is in the pudding based on what happened last night with Richard. He was in a very emotional spot based on the air quotes rumor of because we can't confirm if somebody did lose their life to this, but Richard was openly emotional about it, very, very emotional, and I feel his pain. I 100% do. As an Italian myself, like I said, I know family is so important, and nothing is worth anyone's life. So, and some of the bears that were listening in, I think they started to prey on him in his inbox by sending him like the guy literally is offering up 500 shares of his MMTLP for this family. And people are messaging him being like, you're a piece of shit, like shut the fuck up, because he's like, whatever, man. I mean, this is an open platform for people to come talk. Obviously, we have to like politely cut people off sometimes if they're like rambling for too long. But I mean, like, man, I'm not gonna hold it against people who want to get shit off their chest. It's a very mentally taxing time we're in right now. And honestly, some of the people that take these rants to get stuff off their chest actually like helps get shit off other people's chest that are just listening, right? Like people have messaged me and be like, dude, you fucking like help me so much, and I haven't even talked to these people, right? I'm just like trying to give perspective, right? But anyway, I'm gonna shut up now, and Russ, will pass it over to you.
Thanks, Marduk. You and Edward look in the nest at the top, and that was a nice speech, by the way. I agree 100%. Look at the nest at the top. I just posted a retweet from Buford T. Justice. You know that new AI bot that you can chat with? I don't know if you guys have seen it.
No.
Right. So there's this new AI bot that you can go on the website and basically talk to it, and it's almost scary the replies that it gives you. It's like, it's scary. Like the things
Sí.
are live, right?
Sí.
Yeah. So anyways, you got to read it because they're asking it questions about, he asked it questions about MMTLP and what the SEC or what should FINRA do if they should have halted it or not. And this AI is coming back with these answers that are like unbelievable. Exactly what we said. There's no way they should have halted this. You guys got to read it. That's all I wanted.
Yeah, you know that chat GPT.
I'm
Yeah,
reading it right now.
That's it.
Yeah, it's really in the news right now. Elon's into it. I mean, I think about it when I was in college. You could just ask it a question and it could write your paper for you. I mean, it's insane what that thing's coming up with.
Yeah, I mean, it's gotten, I mean, it's been around for a while, but it's like so intelligent now, it's unreal.
Hey, I'm going to drop my mic so that everybody else can, take the spot.
Thank you. That's really interesting, Russ. Thanks for that. Is Buford the AI, or is that somebody that shares it?
That's just somebody who shared. Buford's the one who asked the AI the questions.
Oh, okay.
He's just one of us.
Oh, okay. Chat GPT is the thing. Okay.
Yeah. There's
That's
three of
pretty
them
cool, though.
I posted 3 of them on there.
I love the language in the first picture.
Yeah, I mean,
FINRA would do it in certain circumstances to protect the investors.
Right, I know. That's what I'm saying. But it's exactly like we thought they would never halt it, right?
Yeah.
And it thinks the same thing. And then he actually asked something about what we could do if they did halt it, or I don't know. So you just got to follow it. Read those 3. I just thought it was like amazing, the answers that it came up with. And it's like FINRA did everything opposite of what they should have done.
Yeah, exactly. I can't remember. Did you respond to my DM about or actually no, it wasn't a DM, it was a comment. Somebody was wondering if there was like a thing you could go look at the share count, like public.
So I don't have a place to public yet. I'm working on that. I've been too busy trying to edit the data and remove any duplicates. This way it's as accurate as possible. I have gone through that list
for sure
50 times today. Every time before I post it, I remove any duplicates. I cut one out, and it was basically Rich or David, because his numbers would skew the rest, but he filled it out also. So I just.
Oh, he did? Oh, okay.
Yes, he did. But I cut his numbers way down. This way they didn't skew the numbers.
Yeah, that's the funniest part. Is like we're literally taking away shares. Like,
exactly. To give them more of an advantage, I'm cutting it down. But
fucking so stupid, dude. And this is the funniest part. Is like, yeah, I don't care if it's like it's unverifiable. Like it's just honestly, it's for the sake of data.
But this is verifiable because we have the emails of all the people that put these on there, and so if they make them sign an affidavit, then could they be used in court? Yeah.
Wait. Let's get Richard here, just so we don't talk.
So
about
all we have to do.
No, I'm not saying. I literally asked it as a question.
All we would have to do. Hold on. All we would have to do is you go to these people, email them, and ask them for a copy where they block out their information of their statement showing how many shares they have, and that's paper proof.
Yeah, and basically, I talked with Richard about this previously, and here's what he told me. If someone were to, let's say, testify in court, claim that they have, let's say, 500 shares, then their broker goes against them in court and say, like, well, no, you don't have 500 shares. And what would happen is that broker would need to get an affidavit to prove to basically prove otherwise.
Right, exactly. So they would have, so basically it would give us a real count, right?
Exactly.
Well, was it Ham that brought it up? the certified like stamped statement, right? Because we can't get physical stock certificates, but someone said that if we had like a statement of our position that was stamped and certified by our broker, that could. Oh yeah, it was Rosa, I think, said that. But then, I was saying, like, at this point, I think that's a little bit too late.
Well, the whole thing is, though, is why would we have to get it stamped and certified by our broker? This is what my broker sent me in the mail.
Exactly.
Or this is what I printed off my broker's website. They're telling me my shares are there, right? It would be the broker that has to prove otherwise, right? Oh, we made a mistake.
The onus is on them.
I want to say yes, but I'm pretty sure Rosa explained why we can't, and there needs to be a level, like, yes, it's still coming from your brokerage, but something to do with being able to use it in court.
Well, I think the problem is we would need 100% of a specific broker, right? In other words, like Citadel shows 2,900 shares. We need, if it takes 5 people to have more than 2,900 shares, then we would need the document from all 5.
Dude, this is like Monopoly from McDonald's. You know how you fucking get the one, and it's like oh, fucking $100,000 grand
Where
prize.
the hell is
The
Park
other
Place?
dude, the other piece of that you'll never find. So like it's like the one is super common, and then you're looking at the number, 2,900. How hard could that be? It's like that's the hardest one to get because you don't know where that comes from.
Oh no, you don't. So all we can do, but to me, I said this earlier. The number not the last screenshot that I posted, but my last actual calculation that came up with 17 million shares or 11,000 per person. If you multiply that by just the 64,000, even though we all know there's more, you multiply by the 64,000 people. That's it was 713 million. It's 6 times what's supposed to be there. So that tells me that, you know what? I can hold as long as I want. If I want out, I can hold as long as I want, and they have to buy back every single share.
Yeah, and see, this is I understand like some of the concerns that Brandon brought up, like
You cut off. Mardu?
He's muted now. I think his cat jumped on his phone.
Oh,
See the cat?
Yeah, I think he does. I'm not sure.
Wait, are you talking about me?
Yeah, you were talking this whole time muted.
For fuck's sakes. Well, all right. I don't know where
You
I
said
cut
something.
off.
You said something about Brandon. That was all we heard.
Oh, right. Okay, so Brandon had brought up some concerns about like the validity of the share count thing, and like it could easily, someone could just go in and put whatever number they want. But then again, when you think about it, it's like, yeah, I mean, it's not going to give you an accurate count, but I would trust that most people would be honest. And even if you did blow it up like more or less, like what would that do for that person, right? Like, like, are a bunch of bears just going to come in and put one share? No, because every share counts for one. And secondly, it's like if they blew it up too high, then it's just like, okay, obviously you're fooling people, but at the same time, that doesn't look good for you either.
Yeah, we're already doing like a bell curve on it. So all the top ones we're cutting off, right? And I've already told myself starting next week, I'm going to start emailing anybody over 100,000 shares that I would like a copy of something, a screenshot, whatever. You can mark out your account number and your name that shows your thing. If I don't get it, then I'm going to remove your account. Right? So I won't start that till next week sometime.
Once you have the share count established, then you can start process of eliminating
Exactly. And well, I've
Yeah.
already removed a ton of duplicates that you can just blatantly tell that they were by mistake. Because I've had some people say that they clicked the button and
It lagged and didn't go through, so they clicked it again. Yeah.
yes, so it was in multiple times. So I removed those, and there's a couple others that somebody accidentally put a phone number in one of the spots, but it was actually the other broker spot. It just said number or something. He thought it said, so he typed in his phone number. Well, gave him 9 digits, right? So he had added 9 million shares. So
Shit.
So I deleted that. You know what I mean? Just that type of stuff. You know, but I believe it's pretty damn accurate. I do not think there's any weird, because I'm getting.
And bro,
You do have an idea, but the DMs I have been getting today on people saying, "Oh, I accidentally typed in my Twitter handle wrong. Can you correct it?" I put other in because in the beginning we only had other, but it's actually this company, and that company's now there. Can you change it? You know how many of them I've changed already today, right? So people are reaching out.
Yeah, you should have had all that stuff set up before you fired it off. But either way.
No, because we wanted it out there. And
yeah, no, that's what I was just about to say. As much as I understand why,
we never want. We didn't know if we're going to get the full list from John or not, and I understand why. Not John's fault, right?
Yeah,
and I don't know all the companies, so the only way to know is to just start putting them in.
Yeah.
Hey, I hate to interrupt, but I have to go soon. I'm a data analyst and statistician, and I would love to give you guys some pointers on how to sort of head off some of the early criticisms you're going to get. Stuff like this being a self-selected sample and certain biases in there, and then data cleaning. So get in touch with me. Bye.
Thanks, Abe Cognito.
Awesome.
We will.
Appreciate it.
Happy New Year, buddy. Thank you.
Hey, Marduk. Edward was so nice to put up the Benford chart, and he sent me some images of it, and it matches perfectly. Like, there is some discrepancy within the number 5, but like the share counts are so tight that it's well within the reason of error. Especially considered because, like, even me personally, like, I was shooting for 5,000 shares. But it's definitely interesting. I'm gonna probably, Edward, with your permission, I'll post it up on my Twitter, and then hopefully I can link it to the nest so that everybody can see how this data model works.
Yeah, definitely. Go ahead. I just want to say also to everybody, my DMs are not working. It seems to me when I'm starting to DM some pretty crucial information every single time, my DMs get completely blocked off. So I'm not able to answer anybody at all. I can read the messages, but I'm not able to reply.
Hey, this is Nation. Just jumping in real quick while I have a little time. Hey, Russ, I'm going to be out of pocket for the next 22 hours since I have to drive back from Florida since my flight got canceled.
Oh, I'm sorry. That sucks.
Yeah. So I'll be out of pocket. If you need anything, just call my cell phone, all right?
Will do, man. No worries. I got it.
All right. Perfect. Thanks.
Bye. Hey, lots of love to Nations, guys. He's helping out with us a lot.
Straight up. Nation, appreciate it. Have a safe drive, bud. That's terribly unfortunate. But you know what? There'll be lots of content to listen in on your drive, so we're with you, buddy, in spirit.
Yep, you guys are all here. I'm listening the whole time.
Snoop is in the house.
Snoop?
I am incognito. Go ahead.
Hey, I'm incognito too. You see the parody, right? I am incognito too. My name is actually Brad.
Hey, Brad, speak up a bit. You're like way far from your mic.
Sorry, guys. Can you hear me now?
I can hear him.
Okay.
Yeah, I can hear him fine.
I can hear you guys, but boy, he sounds far away. Okay, sorry.
Pencil, Q-tip your ears out, buddy. Hey, you know what? I heard the rubbers from the rubber erasers on the back of a pencil works pretty good too.
Yeah, let's stay away from that. I'm old school. Give me a hairpin.
Well, Brad, I assume you had a question or you wanted to give a statement.
All right, so I got you guys off the Bluetooth. I was bouncing it on the surround sound so I can hear everything. Can you hear me better now?
10-4, that's great.
The parody in that handle is I am incognito too. Okay, this is the internet. Just a little bit of background, and I'm gonna just say my piece real quick. Won't take me 30 seconds. Russ got a DM from me. We've got a domain, and I'm sure that Mark will work with you on that public domain to make all of this information that you have publicly available. So reach out to Market It Up if you want to push that. And he actually is incorporating that LLC. So there'll be some ability to cover from a legal standpoint. So reach out under that DM, reach out to Mark if you want to push that avenue, rather than making an unorganized, public information.
I got a buddy in my Discord who also knows a lot about LLCs and tax stuff too, so I can always have him come in and explain stuff if anybody has questions.
We've got the domain as well, mmtlp.org. So reach out to him, Russ, send you a DM. Just a little background, 35-year IT guy, infrastructure, and last 10 years in cybersecurity. So I've seen it all, heard it all, and blocked it all. So just want to give you guys the thumbs up. You're headed down the right path, not necessarily from a legal standpoint, but protect this information is all I can say, and don't listen to the FUD. I'm behind you. I'm an original Torch shareholder. Lots of great conversation. Some amazing people have been on these spaces. Much love to all you guys. You got all my support. Reach out to me if you need that. Simple as that. I'll drop the mic now, Marty.
Hey, I appreciate it. Hey, you a sniper?
Well, that's a long story. But if you want to get into the personal side, we can talk about that off on the side.
No, I was just checking it out. I appreciate your service.
Thanks, guys.
10-4.
Cheers. Yeah, if anything, he's a cybernetics sniper. Big with the IT and the comms.
That's my business.
Silicon is synapse, man.
Yeah, I'll drop my mic now. I don't have real lot to say here. It's all been said. This is pretty amazing stuff. Never seen it before. Pretty cool. Been in the market for, I don't know, gosh. I was trading Forex before there were computers. So just put it that way. This is pretty cool stuff. I've never seen anything like it. It's amazing.
You're not the only one to say that. And people in the business, that's been the general consensus.
So I'll drop the mic now. Thanks for the platform.
Thank you, Incog.
This is so good. The same old monsters, the same old shows that have been attacking MMTLP are publicly going after Rose on Twitter now.
I want names.
Right.
Give me names.
This guy who's been with Raymond Stoops, he states the following. He says, Rosa, a defense attorney, is not a prosecutor. A civil rights attorney is not an employment rights attorney. And Rosa Tawil is not a securities fraud attorney. So while she can file a lawsuit, that does not give her the right to give legal advice on what she filed. So someone else answered him, like, are you a lawyer? If not, you don't have the right to give an actual lawyer law advice. Goofy.
That's good. That's real good. They never stop.
But what's interesting though is the fact that these people were attacking MMTLP, right? And this MMTLP business is supposed to be done. So the fact that they're continuing and not just attacking MMTLP, now they're going after lawyers. That's pretty interesting. Although this sort of concluded since December 14th. So it raises a lot of questions.
Shifting the attack.
Okay, there we go. I got it up in the nest. If everybody wants to check that out, with a link to how Benford's model works. It's definitely interesting stuff if anybody actually is interested in data science. For me personally, Benford's law is the thing that makes me believe that we live in the matrix. So check it out.
Yeah, it's pretty cool stuff when people understand the science behind it.
Like it's right up there with quantum entanglement for me, and it's just like, what the? I'm like, how does this even work? Like that can't be.
Hey, what I could say is that the numbers never lie. That's why I was so convicted in this play, because no matter what kind of manipulation you want to do, the numbers will never lie.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, I mean, just look at it right there. It's like we're 6 times what the float should be. It's like brokers have a huge problem to deal with.
Everything in life is math. Every last living thing you do, every move you make, everything is a calculation. All numbers.
Hey, Terry, you want to say something?
Oh, hey guys, I was just kind of listening, but my headset was messed up. But yeah, when I hopped on tonight, I saw a tweet and it was something like, hashtag AMC, GME, MMTLP, all this, all the squeeze plays, and the guy goes, "You're all idiots. It's a stupid dream. They'll never let it happen." Blah blah blah. So I'm like, "Who's this idiot?" So I click on his name, and he's got 4 followers, and he's got 2 replies, and both the replies are his own. I'm like, so I just thought of that now, and I'm like, I'm gonna go find this guy and report him for a bot, but they're everywhere, aren't they?
Yeah, they are. So here's a pretty interesting question from one of the shareholders in MMTLP. He says short positions are in the same situation now that they were back in Torchlight when 1-to-1 Series A happened. So why did they need it to trade back in October 2021, and how are things different now?
So how long was the spin-off offered where it was trading publicly before we went to MMTLP? Like, and if those shorts carried into MMTLP, I mean, can a guy say it doubled? You know, it doubled the short position. I mean, that's
It doesn't work like that. It's not necessarily just a linear or gradual reflected numbers. What you
Right.
need to look at is the whole previous history of Torchlight, and then you look at what happened with Torchlight and what became of MMTLP.
so. Do we take all the shorts from? I said double just as a stupid number out of thin air, but so you take all the Torchlight shorts and they moved into MLP or MMTLP.
Well, you don't take that as a fact. You need to look at how they were carried over.
Okay.
And if you go look at the documents, the OCC memos, and you look at the FTDs of MMTLP, and you look at the FTDs of MMAT, you will start to understand how these short positions were carried on.
Hey, so as an original Torchlight guy, I can kind of shed light on this. This was a pre-merger dividend, and after the merger, there was also a reverse split. So what that means is anytime you have a short position and you hold it in the stock, and there's a dividend that's issued, in order to close your short position, you have to buy not only the share that you shorted, but in addition, whatever the dividend is. So generally, the dividend will be cash. So let's say you're short on IBM and you hold through a dividend. When you want to close your position, you have to pay the dividend and the share of stock. The way that this came about, and George P. and John Berta were kind of inspired by Overstock, because what Overstock did was they issued a dividend that was in kind of an obscure crypto that you could only get if you had the dividend itself. So this was the same idea where they were issuing Series A preferred shares that weren't going to be tradable. So what's interesting, and John Berta said this, is on the day before the merger happened, the last day that you had to own your Torchlight in order to get the Series A special preferred dividend, this actually squeezed up to $11, but it wasn't actually a squeeze is what they found out, because they weren't covering. A squeeze is defined when buying demand is in general coming from shorts closing their position. So here's what these guys did was they saw it was going up to $11, $12, and they're like, screw that. We're not going to close our positions at that high because they would have been losing money. So they just held it through, just like they do on every other stock that's publicly traded. They held it through the merger. Right after the merger happened, there was a reverse split of 2-to-1. So when you look at, like it says, the all-time high price of MMAT, you'll see it says like $20 or above $20. That reflects the reverse split. So what it meant was for them that had a short position, they then had to provide 1 share of MMAT and a half a share of, or 1 share of MMTLP, which didn't exist, and a half a share of MMAT for each short position. So what ended up happening? So I had those shares in my account. They had no value attached to them, and that was cool. Then these guys started MMTLP, and it's backfired on them. I know that we all hate Ari Rubenstein, but everybody that has MMTLP, when you become a millionaire, you've got to thank him because he is the reason that you were able to buy it. Because we were just, I had to make the decision in June. Do I go into Torchlight? Do I believe in the asset? Which I did. And I have
Hey, I
always
hate to
in it.
interrupt. Can somebody mute their mic? There's a lot of background.
Okay, yeah, I'll just finish quickly on the little thing. So, what happened was
Marduk, your microphone is open.
So anyone that had Torchlight, because it was a do or die when the merger happened. If you didn't buy Torchlight at that point, you were never going to get the Series A special dividend because nobody expected it to be able to be traded. Now, these short positions are still there, and John Bird has shown the OCC, stuff. So what they did was they got together and they started this market. So all of a sudden on October 7th, when you woke up, your account looked a lot higher than it was before, and you're like, what's this? And that's when we realized MMTLP was trading. So the short positions are the ones that were carried over from that merger, and then thrown on top of that, all of the shorting that has happened since October of 2021 in MMTLP, which if you watch this ticker, it was ridiculous. You could see it every day, what they were doing. They didn't want to make it too cheap where you would buy it, but they wouldn't let it go up at all. As soon as it did, they shorted it down. So the answer is the short positions are the ones that were open from the merger that haven't been closed, because they could close those. This is the really, really ridiculous thing about these guys. They could have closed these for $1.25 a share. But if you have, let's say, 100 million shares naked, you're still talking about $125 million you got to pull out of your pocket. They didn't think this was really worth anything, which was really stupid DD, and they continued to short it some more. Now what they're faced with is the short position are the ones from the merger, everything that happened from trading in MMTLP, and they're realizing that this is a very valuable oil and gas asset. So I hope that kind of answers your question. The short position is from the merger, them not closing because it went higher than they wanted to close it, and then everything after that in MMTLP.
Yeah, that answers a lot. I'm wondering, so people are spitting out numbers like, say, 300 million. I've heard, we definitely know there's 500 million, right? Is that up until now, or is that including prior to the spinoff?
So the 500 million is probably being referred to what the new company NextBridge has as shares. There's 165 million. They have what's on the shelf. So these are authorized shares that just sit up on their shelf that they could sell. Originally, in their first incorporation, I think it was 250 million, but then they actually upped it. And all of the bears are saying, oh, this is dilution, blah, 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 whatever. There are 165 legitimate NextBridge hydrocarbon shares. The number of outstanding now, and I have it on good authority of a guy that can see what it is. When they shut this down, and I asked him, he said that it was 2 times the float, and I don't know if you want to call it the float, but the outstanding positions were twice what the authorized shares were. So that told me 300 to 335 million. If you go 165 million times 2, I don't know if that's exactly it, but he said he actually talked to his other buddy and they looked at it and they hadn't ever seen anything freaking, like it. This was also one of the reasons I decided I want to be able to get my license to be able to see what they're seeing, because it's unfair that we can't.
Okay,
so
there was talk the other night, and I wasn't talking about 500,000 or 500 million shares. There was talk the other night that 2 guys, I think they're pretty regular in this chat, they said, we know there's 500 million short, at least.
Regardless of what people think to know or not, there's no way to confirm the theory unless you have the numbers in front of you.
Right. I'm just using that for a number, but he explained the 500 million shares that are available from the company.
So if there could be, so when you say 500 million shares, that could be the 165 plus 335. That would be 500 million total shares. Just as another kind of way to look at it, which would mean So if they're, that's adding the legitimate shares plus the counterfeit shares together. But the point is this, we don't know what it is, but we know that it's huge. Because if it wasn't huge, they wouldn't have halted this. And so let's say it's only, even if it's only 100 million or whatever, if they have 2 trading days, they have to average 50 million in volume over those 2 days to close those positions. If it's 300 million, they got to do 150 million a day. Really, the way that we're going to find out what exactly it was is if this is opened up and they're forced to close their positions, all of the volume that you're going to see in trading, and we don't know if it'll trade, but all the volume would be buying to close, which would absolutely validate, whatever's out there. But we know that it's not, just like John Berta said on Fox News, if it's only 6 million shares, because, the short interest numbers that FINRA puts out, you got to know that this is proof that it's not true. Because if it was true, they traded 13 million shares on that last day. Closing 6.5 million wouldn't have been a big deal. Instead, these guys pull a U3 halt before a squeeze, which never happens, just like Edward's talking about. If they ever do it, they do it after the thing is going. They pulled it immediately. So we don't know what's out there, but it's not small. And actuaries and bird lady.
Can we just not all open our mics at the same time? It's creating feedback. Thanks.
That's all. I'm just throwing in. I'm just giving my background on, the last thing I want to say to you guys is this. I have been confident in this play. I was never in this for a squeeze. My original shares were for the oil and gas asset. And here's how I did my DD. And I think that if you really understand the oil and gas asset, that's what really gives you the comfort of knowing you hold the goals like everyone talks about. So before the merger happened, in order for me to find out, I had to know, is the Oro Grande real? So what I did was I called the PR people for what was going to be metamaterial. And it's a guy named Derek Gradwell. The guy, Mark Komanowski, I think his name is, who works for MMAT, is basically Derek's right-hand man kind of guy. Derek's PR firm has only represented oil companies in the Midland Basin. In fact, MMAT is the first company that wasn't an oil company that they represented. And he was telling me that, and the only reason that they were doing it was because Torchlight chose Metamaterials to merge with, and Meta was like, oh, is this your PR guy? Okay, great. So that's how we've got Mark, if anyone gets in touch with them.
They brought that together. That's how they brought that together, was what you're talking about.
Yes, that was the merger. So it's like Torchlight's PR guys became Meta's PR guys. So I'm talking to the top guy, Derek Gradwell, and if you look at his LinkedIn, he's got 2,000 followers. He's involved in a lot of religious and Christian things, and he doesn't seem like a shyster to me. So I call him about a week and a half before the merger happens, and I just kind of feel him out. And he's been in the PR business for oil and gas companies for 20 years in Midland, which is like the largest urban center that's for the whole Permian Basin kind of stuff. And I just talked about like rare coins with him and stuff. He's a coin collector. And then I just kind of got into it. I was like, listen, here's the deal. They're saying that it's worth $1 to $20. We have the recordings of George talking to the Italians. And I don't know if any of you guys heard this, but in May of 2021, George was pitching MMAT to some Italian investors. And there were recordings where they were pressing him on, well, is it closer to $1 or is it closer to $20 on the dividend? And George actually said, you know what? It might even be more than $20 because of how oil and gas prices, blah, blah, blah. I think he got in a lot of trouble for that. And then he was like, but you guys should talk to Derek about this. So this is the Derek that's on that recorded video that I was talking to. Derek explained to me, he said, listen, do you know who Rich Masterson is? I said, no, I really don't. And this is why this is hidden in plain sight from investors. Stock people don't understand oil. And oil people don't really understand stocks unless you're bird lady. And he basically explained to me that this is the guru of the Permian Basin. In his 40 years of geology, he's made discoveries that are considered the highest of the highest. You know, the Wolf Bone play. He named some things to me that I didn't know, but I wrote them down and I looked it all up. He said basically what this is if you go over this little bunch of hills from the Permian Basin and you head toward El Paso, it's an untouched, brand new basin. He said, look up the Torchlight thing, and that's the one that I can link it. It's a 37-page thing about what the asset is. It gives the geology reports as well. I have a friend that's a geologist, and by the way, McCabe, just so you guys know, is also a geologist. And it wasn't just Rich Masterson that's done it. It's been independently verified by 3 other geologists. I sent it to my geologist, and he said, you know what? They saved 3.2 billion barrels of oil and 500 million BOE, which is barrels of oil equivalent of natural gas. So when you hear like trillions of cubic feet of gas, the way that they value it is what are the BTUs, the British thermal units, equivalent if it was barrels of gas. So we always say 3.2 billion, but if you read it, that's just the midline. The low case, I think, was 1.9 billion. The high case was 5 billion. Everyone always uses that 3 billion number. My geologist buddy that I sent it to, because I had to figure out, this was a do or die for us. If you didn't buy Torchlight to get the dividend, you were never going to get it because nobody ever expected it to be traded. I had to be sure at that point if I was going to do it. I estimated at that time, guaranteed it's got to be at least $20. So I paid, $5.67 for my first shares that I got originally. My geologist buddy looked at it and he said, 3.2 billion for oil and 500 for BOE of gas is probably on the low side. He said, I would guess that it's more closer to 4 billion, and so then that's when I did it. And I didn't really understand the numbers or any of that, but I jumped in at that point. When it became tradable, that's when I found Bird Lady, and Bird Lady was able to break down exactly what this stuff was worth. So the bottom line that I'm trying to share with you is we had to make our choice if you were in Torchlight. We made it a long time ago in June of 2021 that the asset was real. If the oil is there, then the Series 1 preferred dividend, and here's the thing that kind of pisses me off a bit. I wonder if they didn't start trading this thing in October and we didn't have all this fuckery, because the original agreement was they sell the asset, we get paid the dividends. If it goes to January, then they spin it off into another company. It was an either or. The MMTLP thing came up, kind of, threw a wrench in it. Then if you follow this, in December, the company issued an 8K saying that they expected to have the spinoff done by March. The SEC came in just to screw with them and made them do an audit in March. Then it was like, when is this going to come? When is this going to come? The S1 finally came on July 15th. But the point that I'm making is, everybody, if this goes in the next bridge, your 165 millionth share of this asset, even if you bought it at $12.50, is an 8-bagger at that price to me. Okay. And just know that. So when you're getting offers or there's an open market that's coming and you're going to hear all kinds of uncertainty, I'm okay with not seeing any price associated with my shares. I had it like that for many months. And I'm not going to sell to any of these assholes that come in, and that would be a non-taxable event. If I'm going to have to get taxed, I maybe will start considering offers at 150, but I doubt it. I'm not gonna, So I want everyone that's in here to know that you hold the gold. There is nothing that they can do to take that away from you unless you let them. You have the power. They are the ones that are fucked. It's not you. So I'm sorry for preaching on this and everything, but this has consumed 18 months of my life. And I can't tell you, and original Torchlight people will know exactly, what I'm talking about. It was a lot easier when it wasn't traded, but when it became traded, the irony is what Ari Rubenstein did, he's inadvertently going to make a lot of millionaires out of this, and he's going to bankrupt his ass. And he never planned on that because they didn't realize that people were going to buy it. So one family, we're all going to be fucking 2023 is going to be great. One last thing, I was listening to Richard. I can, you know, he was talking about divorce and, you know, now he's going to get divorced over this and all this. There's a lot of, I can't tell you, my wife thinks that I'm out of my mind, that I'm some kind of conspiracy person when I try to explain to her that this U3 Hub was absolutely, you know, out of left field. And I just want everyone to know that it's hard on all of us. There may be suicides or not or whatever, but there's divorces, there's Christmases that weren't supposed to be how they, you know, really were. And so fuck these guys. They are the ones that are a lot more scared than we are. I don't give a fuck. Give me all of my Next Bridge shares, and I'm fine with that. And if you can't do that, then that's your fucking deal. And having said that, I don't want any fucking settlement. I don't want any group, you know, whatever. Just give me my fucking Next Bridge shares. If you want to open it up for trading, then I'll see what the free market offers. But I know what I hold. And if you think that you're going to get me to fucking, because here's what they're going to do is if they open it, they're going to have a price and they're going to look at it and they're going to clear the order book with everything down below that. And then they'll figure, oh, settlement or whatever. So I'm sticking to my guns. I have a lot of shares. I had just a few, but when I saw that this was trading and then I listened to Bird Lady, I've got a lot of shares, and those fuckers are not going to get any from me. And everybody does their own thing, but I know what the asset is. I know.
Hey, could you repeat? They're going to open up the book and figure out what's going on, and then possibly settlements. What you think might go on there?
I don't think that they can personally. Here's my uneducated. Well, I don't want to say uneducated, but here's my guess on what's going to happen. I actually, more than ever, think that I don't think that FINRA is even going to respond to Rosa, and I think they're just going to cave. But I think if trading opens, I think that the I don't know about the brokerages quote, you know, forcing all short positions to say, hey, you all got to close no matter what the price is, blah, blah, blah. Especially because of what Alan talked about, the SEC investigator calling him and bringing up the idea of a price cap on trading. So what I mean by clearing out the order book is the order book are all the bids and the asks on each side with prices. So they decide they'll go to, oh, $50. How many shares do we have below $50? And then they just buy all of those, but they don't go above it. Now, this is just it's something that I've just been thinking about. But really, I don't give a fuck what they do. I know what I've got. Give me my Next Bridge shares, okay? And fuck you for doing this. Even if it's $250 you want to offer me, I probably won't even do it then because I don't want them to get out of it. I don't want Next Bridge to sell them shares and let them out of it. I don't want any of this Paul dividend shit that's all been talking out there. They need to fucking deal with me. I don't want anyone talking on my behalf or making settlements on my behalf. Fuck you. This is my Next Bridge shares. If you want these shares, you can, you know, you've got two choices. You either give me my Next Bridge shares or you figure out whatever the fuck you got to do to get them for me or to convince me to let them go. And that's where I'm at. Okay. So I'm not interested in any collective, you know, I don't want Next Bridge to go and sell, and then I gotta depend on Next Bridge to decide how much of that money they're going to give to me. No, just give me my Next Bridge shares. I don't want them diluted, which means anytime if Next Bridge does sell to them, I know everyone's talking about double dipping or whatever, but right now I have a right to 1/165 millionth of the asset. If they sell these fuckers the 300 million shares or whatever, and then it goes up to 500 million, I now have 1/500 millionth of the asset. And I don't want that. That's just me personally. So they either give me my Next Bridge shares And I'm ACATing just a few, just for fun, because I do want to be a part of it. You know, I'll do 10,000 shares ACATed just to have a little thing in there and just to fucking make them do it. You know, but other than that, give me my next bridge shares. I don't want your fucking QSIP. I want my fucking shares.
Absolutely.
And if you're forced, if they are forced,
The
to
right
open
brain
fucking
trade
market,
is with you on that
I will
one.
make the decision of whether or not. If they want to cap a price, fuck, do whatever you want. Give me my shares. We are the fucking drivers of this boat, okay? Don't fucking forget that. The only way that you can lose is if you let them convince you to part with your shit, and you do not have to do that. So I'm sorry I'm getting all like emotional or or whatever, but
Hell no, Jeff. Yo, I was actually going to tell you, can we please have your consent to take a snippet of what you just explained?
Do that whole
Especially,
thing, guy.
wait. Especially that part with next bit, okay? There's a certain part that we want to take this snippet of and let that circulate. Do we have
okay,
your
the
consent
only one part I would feel, I mean, I don't, what Derek Gradwell shared with me, he never specifically told me what the asset was worth, okay? And I don't think I ever said in here a price on it. The geologist I talked to was a personal friend of mine. But the part about talking to Derek Gradwell, because he's still involved with Metamaterials, it's his PR firm that represents Metamaterials, and Mark Komanowski or whatever is his employee. The part about that, I think about it. Is that the part specifically you're interested in?
Not necessarily, no. Just the whole timeline explaining the whole shorts and then how it completely carried over. And then you went about explaining the assets and what they were worth.
Yeah, we want the rant. We want the rant.
Yeah, you can have the whole fucking rant. I mean, this has been bottled for 18 months, and you can have the whole fucking rant. And just like Rosa says, I don't care if there's shorts in here listening. If you're listening, shorts, I want my fucking next bridge. If you can't deliver it, then that's on you. But I'm not worried about it. So if you want to come up with some kind of, way to get me to part from my next bridge shares, because there are naked shorts, but there's no such thing as a naked long. Every purchase that's long is legitimate. So yeah, I have no fucking problem. If you want to go ahead. I mean, I'm sorry I went on this rant like this, but it's
no, I needed this rant today. That was great.
Okay. That's
You're
my
a breath
rant.
of fresh
You
air,
can
man.
drop me on the mic. You don't need to put me on here. There are other people that want to talk, but this is just me sharing from my personal perspective. And I'm not an ape. Okay, I've never been on a crusade. I am on one now. Okay, but I've and it just goes to show, you don't worry about, they were going for the neighbors. I didn't worry about them, but then they start coming for you. So this kind of opened my eyes to other tickers and people that have been shorted and gone through this fuckery and other stuff, and made me really feel more compassionate, because you don't realize it till it's fucking you, and
You see, guys, you just got to ask the right questions.
yeah. But hey, I'll just leave with this. This is everyone's like, oh, this community, this or that or whatever. But this really is one of the most special things that I've really been able to feel a part of. And our unification comes through our suffering, which is like, it's like, when are the strongest bonds that people make are in wartime in a bunker next to another guy. And those are the kind of like feelings that this gives me. I meet anyone after this and I'm like, and they're an MMTLP person, it's like I'm meeting a long lost relative. It's like, because you fucking know, even if you only bought on December 7th, I don't give a fuck. You went through what we've all been through, so yeah, we are a brotherhood. And it all comes down to, you can have all your squabbles. Like, it's like us as Americans. We can fucking oh, I'm a Republican, I'm a Democrat, blah, 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 all of our memes and everything, and we fight. But when we have an outside force that comes at us, I don't give a fuck what color you are, what your religion is, or whatever. If you're an American, I'll be in your fucking foxhole with you. And I will lay my life down for you because I know that you're going to lay it down for me. And that's the situation that we're in right now. We have been forced into a fucking foxhole. We have an enemy that is really, really powerful, one that breaks all the rules. And this is Rosa is kind of a microcosm of what we are. We as a community are like a David versus a Goliath, okay? That's exactly what Rosa is. Rosa's a single woman in a hijab, she's covering her hair, and people look at her like, what the fuck? That's what we are. We're a few thousand people going against the strongest, most nefarious forces out there. And we're going to win because we can't lose unless we let them win. So if you have shares and you want NextBridge, you're going to get fucking NextBridge, or else they're going to figure something out for you. So we have already won, everybody. Okay?
Jack, I'll tell you this, is that Rosa is smart as a whip. I mean, at her age, the breadth of knowledge she has is not the average person here. She's brilliant. And she as young as she is, as nice as she is, she knows what she's doing. She's listening. You can always learn. There's something to learn from everyone, right? And she's not above doing that. That was a great conversation we had with, Faran, Rosa, Alex, Ham. But you got a good feel for her and where she's at. She's intelligent. This is the right person on our side.
I think you're right about the community. I think the state of the nation right now is just so shitty, and I think it's a great place for just a bunch of regular guys and girls to go, and we all have one mission, and we all want to hear what the other one has to say. I don't know if there's a weekly roundup that you guys have, because I didn't hear about the SEC investigator, so I don't know anything about that. And the other thing was, if they would open the market and cap trading, something like that. Even if they open the market, it's going to open it up to all kinds of discovery, because people are still going to come after them, in my opinion.
Well, this could have been in last year's taxes, for one thing.
Yeah, I agree with that. That's for sure.
I mean, seriously, people needed to make choices. A lot of people make choices at the end of the year about selling.
Guys, I don't mean to interrupt, but
sorry about that.
There was a fight between
Go,
some of
Molly.
the oldest kids. So I am here with my hand raised whenever you're all ready for me. I just want to make sure that you all know I'm here.
Go.
So who down in Whoville spoke?
Go ahead and go, Mike. Molly.
Oh, we're waiting for Molly to come back. Does anybody know a Jerry McGuiver? McGuiver?
Never seen that name. Why?
I'm still here. I just wanted to make sure I
start
didn't
talking.
speak out of...
Nope. Go ahead. Talk.
Billy, slow down a minute. Okay, I'm sorry. Talking my oldest towards my youngest. Okay, guys. First of all, I've started a New Year's resolution of working out, so drinking wine is not going to be my thing when I get back home. So I drink wine at night. But with y'all, I wanted to ask y'all, what do you guys think? And this is family coming out and asking me questions. What do you guys think is going to come of this week? And I did some research. I listened to Houston Wade's video, and I'll be honest, I've not been able to put a lot of watch into this. I am a paralegal. being able to put time into it right now with poor internet and my kids running around at my parents' house, it's not as quite as
Molly, you're cutting.
Darn it! Can y'all hear me? Here, can you hear me now?
We have to go back out. Go back out with the ducks.
Go back out with the ducks? Okay. I'm out with the ducks. Can y'all hear me now?
They were
Is
geese.
that better?
Oh,
Okay.
geese. I'm sorry. Geese.
It's
sorry.
okay. It's okay. It is geese, but there's ducks out here too. They're just not quacking. Okay. So Houston Wade, they were talking about immunity from being sued by FINRA. First of all, I have spoken to 2 attorneys that have spoken about suing FINRA. I doubt that they would have just said that without, they're not going to just say something without thinking. Second of all, I am a paralegal and I have researched this just a little bit. I haven't not been able to get real in depth with this just because I'm not sitting around a computer with great internet. But as far as suing FINRA, and this is kind of off topic from where I was going with y'all, but I know that FINRA is excused. They do have immunity, but they have immunity from NASD. And the first court case I saw in what Houston Wade sent me was NASD. It was not a regular case. Anybody who is associated with FINRA, whether it's a brokerage or you used to work for FINRA, you can sue. And I mean, this applies to most companies anyway. Any court case that I've done previously, you cannot sue a company that you were associated with, right? I'm sure most of y'all know that as well. But anyway, anything NASD you cannot sue, which is what the first court case was that was presented in the case of FINRA. The second thing I was going to argue is, and FINRA is excused from all, you got to use wording here. I had an attorney through Penn State, and the attorney told me the Constitution is the Constitution, it's how you argue it. And with FINRA court case, it says all court cases are excused anything through NASD. But some court cases are argued through damages through civil cases. And some carries a lot of weight. They carry different weight for those who are in the legal field that I'm speaking to. With that being said,
Whew.
We lost you again, Molly.
I still think there's an argument.
Can't hear you.
I'm still, can you hear me now?
There you go.
There we go. 1, 2, 3.
Yep.
Okay. With that being said, I'm holding my phone up to the top of my dad's deck here. I'm going to do further research when I go back home. I did research a few court cases. It's a little hard because I do not have access to like LexisNexis and Westlaw to review the court cases, but for comparison and precedent. But I think we carry a lot of weight with that. But anyway, for y'all, I have the question. I'm still going over a virus. So
Idiot.
For y'all, I do have a question, and that's, what do y'all think is going to come out of this week's stock run? Like, what is going to happen when the stock opens come tomorrow? Well, not tomorrow. Tomorrow's Monday, so Tuesday. Did y'all hear any of that? Y'all hear the geese? Okay, great,
Yes.
great. Okay.
Yes, we heard. You want to know what we think is going to happen come the beginning of the week, right?
Yeah, I mean there was a lot of talk before that on.
Yeah, we got that. We got
okay,
that.
Great.
You're gonna get back to us on the court case stuff when you get back home to your better internet and stuff, right?
Okay, great. Yeah.
Okay. So as far as what's gonna happen next week, you got a coin. Flip it up in the air. Heads we get paid next week. Tails, we gotta wait another week and flip the coin again. So it's really hard to say. I mean, these numbers that are coming out with our unofficial count. Yeah. Well, I'll give you my opinion. My personal opinion is, it doesn't matter how long it's going to take, we're going to get paid. That's my personal opinion. 100%. We're going to get paid. Hold out for however long you want to hold out. Because that's what these numbers tell me. Right now, there's 6 times the numbers that there should be, which means they have to buy back 6 shares for every 1 share that we have, or that we're supposed to have. So they pretty much have to buy back.
Russ, I'm so sorry. Would you repeat that one more time? I'm holding my phone up.
Yep. They have to buy back every share that we own right now. That we are 6 times the amount of shares that is, and this is based on a smaller percentage in doing the numbers, but we're at like 6 times what there should be. So my last number was 713 million shares, and there's only supposed to be 165 million.
Hey Russ, what's the size
I'll
of
be
the
honest,
data
Russ,
pool?
if you can hear me,
Just
y'all
out of
can open
curiosity.
my mic at this point. I cannot.
Okay.
You are cutting it out so bad. If you would just shoot me a quick DM or something that summarizes what you were just, I would
I can do
appreciate
that.
it. Thank you so much, Russ.
You have to give me a couple minutes to find you.
No, that's okay. I appreciate it, sir.
You know what? Actually, send me a DM. This way it pulls you to the top of my list, and I'll reply.
I'll send you a
How's
DM
that?
now. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Was that you, Murdoch, who asked? So the pool size is, I just had to jump upstairs. I didn't plan on getting back on the computer tonight. But I noticed I noticed
that
our
was-
number.
Yeah, it wasn't me, Russ.
Oh, okay. So
And I was just looking for a quick. I haven't caught on to that yet, or I haven't heard it yet, so I'm just kind of curious how we come to that conclusion.
Where have you been?
I've been in and out. I apologize.
You don't have to apologize.
Hopefully it's doing something good for someone else here.
Yeah, you don't have to apologize for anything. So let me go back. I'm sorry too. So the current pool size, 2,332 entries.
Did I tell you about what?
Is it a link you've put up before? Because I think I did it the other night.
Well, it's only been up for 2 days.
Okay, I'll look again, but I think I've
Yesterday
put my numbers in.
Yesterday and today, it's on my wall. It's pinned to the top of my wall.
All right, I'll find it.
No worries. Anyways, hey Gandalf, are you still here?
I says, have you ever looked up Soros?
Yeah, sorry. No, it's just because I'm multitasking. Yes.
No worries. So Jerry, at first I thought it was and it still might be, a prank. Jerry McGuire, right? Wasn't that like a money, kind of like
Show me the money.
Yeah, it was Show Me the Money, the movie.
Right. Well, this is spelled McGuiver.
That's
And
McGuiver or McGuiver.
Yeah. And he filled out everything else, filled out email address is a Hotmail email address. I'm going to try to send an email to it.
There you go. You know, there's a lot of people still have AOL. I didn't even know they were around.
I didn't realize that either. There is a ton.
All over, yes.
There's a ton.
I'm like, what? That's like saying that MySpace is still a thing.
Yeah. Let me try to send an email to this because, anyway, the reason I asked, because the numbers they put in here are larger, way larger than even John Berta's. Not larger than David's, but pretty large.
Okay, give me a second. I'll go look at the data.
Yeah, I was just looking it up. and I didn't see any that large with that number.
Is that open for viewing? Are the numbers open?
No, so we're trying not to share personal data. The only thing we really have is Hotmail, is the email addresses for people. So it's really not. I mean, I didn't give you. Well, I gave you the name itself, but it's basically a TD Ameritrade account and a Fidelity account. There's really not much more information except for the email address. So I'm going to try to send an email to it.
No, and I understand that, and we don't want other people, the wrong people, to get their hands on that stuff either.
Hey guys.
Hello.
Hi. Yeah, I have a quick question. I've been hearing that if you're a long and there could be 4 shorts behind you that have to get cleared before it hits your long. Is that correct?
More like 6.
Okay,
in my
even if
calculation.
it's 6. So if that short position, they have to go through who shorted them first. So they have to clear that one before them, and then and so on and so on and so on until they hit you.
Not necessarily. So it all depends on where you want to put your price at, right? So
Exactly.
let's say there's 6 people, and there's $10 difference between each, right? So the short seller 1 has to close his position. He's going to take the first $10 person that he can get.
That's right.
Right? Then he takes that share and returns it to where he got it from.
Okay.
Right? Which is going to be basically it's going to be another short. Then that short is going to take the next lowest bid, which is going to be the $20. Right? And that's going to keep going around in the circle until they finally get to whatever the last bid is.
So,
And then they'll all be gone. Basically. Then those 6 shared. So if you were the one that placed your bid at 10, then you're the first in line. If you placed your bid at 60, then you were the last in line on that situation.
Yeah, that's the ladder up, and
so what happens to
that's
all
the
the people
one door in
behind
the
them?
burning building.
There is no people behind them.
No, like okay,
That's got to happen for every share that's out there.
So there's not going to be. So I'm along, and there's 7 people behind me. Those 7 people have to argue amongst themselves in order.
Nope. So it's not that there's 7 people behind you. It's that there's 7 shorts behind the short seller.
Yes, I understand that. It's just I don't understand how all those shorts say, okay, he's offering $60. What about the rest of them that say no, I don't want that? Can that happen?
It could happen. That's the part where they're screwed. They got to come up. Go ahead.
No, I just want to step in here because a lot of people are DMing me. I am being Twitter blocked. I cannot DM people back. I can only read your messages. I cannot answer them.
Confirm your.
Edward, I can't be your go-between.
Well, except they're probably gonna DM you.
Okay.
I'll go to you to go to me to go to them. It's like a bad real estate transaction. 2 real estate, agents and then 2 clients. It's a nightmare.
Okay, let's get back to what we were talking
Yeah,
about.
let me try to figure this out. So
yeah,
and maybe Gandalf can help me here if I get mixed up. So if a short seller wants to buy a share, so like I said, let's say there's 6 different people selling.
Okay, let's go back for 1 second. Let's go back to how that short seller got his short from the beginning. Because my shares were
so here
once, and then again, and then again, and then again, and then again, and so on and so on.
Right. So basically, your share was lent to a short seller. He sold it to me. Yeah. My brokerage company loaned it to somebody else who shorted it again.
Oh, so it keeps going from long to long to long.
No. It goes from short to long, which have been me.
Yes, and then short to long again.
Right, and then short to long, and then short to long.
Okay, so that's
Okay, so you gotta basically, you gotta do the exact same thing in reverse.
Yes, okay, I got it now. So that's how the shares accumulate over time, because it goes from short to long, short to long, short to long, and then that's how the longs add up to where we are now.
Right, exactly. Way more than they're supposed to be.
I got
So they have to buy them all back. So there has to be a short out there for every long, except for the original 165.
Yes, okay, that's what I was thinking about this whole time. I always thought that there could be more shorts than longs, but that's not entirely true. There may be a couple more longs that are I mean, there are a couple of shorts that are longer than longs.
Yeah, the original. Well,
there may
be, but
but
the original OG holders should be longer than the shorts if there's any still out there, which I know there is.
Well, yeah, the original longs shares have probably been lent out maybe 20 times.
Yeah, you don't know.
Yeah, because it's been so long, right? So
right,
the people that have who bought the shares the most recent are probably the ones that are probably I don't know.
Short. I know what you're saying. Shorter on the list, but no, it's not quite that the case, because even though let's say I had mine are all OG shares, if when this first starts trading, I opt to sell mine first. Now I just became the first one out.
Yeah,
which most likely shorts. Which likely means I got a lower price than I could have gotten. Right? Because if they buy all mine first and then buy all yours, theoretically that price should keep going up the longer it goes in the circle.
Yes, I agree.
So if everybody's sold a little at a time, right? Everybody should get roughly the same prices for their shares. But the longer you wait,
the more you're going to get.
Okay, let me rephrase that. The longer you wait, the more you're going to get. Unless you wait too long, then you're going to get stuck in Nextbridge.
Well, I don't mind being stuck in Nextbridge.
Neither do I. Well, you say that now.
The reason why
if the shares go up to $1,000 a piece, and then you get shoved in Nextbridge, and you end up getting, you see what I'm saying?
Yes, that's very different.
Because me, I want to go to Nextbridge too, but eventually they'll become tradable. So I'll take my 1,000 now and then buy Nextbridge later.
You think Nextbridge is going to become tradable?
Eventually. Eventually.
Like as Nextbridge or somebody who bought them out?
It all depends on how this boils out. If they get $20 million or $20 billion or something like that, because they sell some of their shares too, then I would say.
You actually think that those guys are going to want to go back on the market? No way.
Oh yeah. I don't. The thing is, they'll be too big to short. I mean, they'll have so much money because normally they short right around
Tesla right now. You can't
that's because look what Elon did. He just blew how much money on Twitter and everything else that's going on, right? Bad publicity. It's easy to make stuff to go down, right? So now shorting to me, that's almost legitimate shorting, right? You know, the stock isn't. I mean,
it depends if
the last I
shorting or not.
Yeah, the last I heard
Tesla, then that's something totally different, which we already know they are naked shorting Tesla.
Yeah, but the last I did the calculation before the last split, Tesla was worth like, what was it? 700 times. It would take 700 years for the company to make the money that they owe.
Yeah, okay, I hear you.
You know what I mean? They're nowhere near worth what they should be.
Yeah. Okay.
You know? So
yeah, that's why people are saying they're going to be like a GM or a Ford.
Yeah, eventually they will be.
Yes.
So, anyways, but
off topic, very off topic.
And Molly, I'm looking for your tweet now. Sorry.
Hey, no offense to anyone here. If you guys no longer have questions, I'm gonna cycle through. I'm gonna drop some people's microphones to cycle through some speakers.
Yep. Hold up. One last thing. Did you find that person?
Who, me?
Yeah, or
Jerry?
anybody? Yeah,
I
Jerry.
haven't looked into it yet. Honestly, I've been looking at other DD. Let's just put it that way.
All right, no worries. I'm gonna take that person out for now because I don't want to release that amount of shares. It'll skew the numbers, right?
Yeah,
So I'll pull it out for now and add it back in later if they reply to me. If not, I'm not adding it back.
Yeah, that's fair.
Hey, Russ, just so everybody knows what's going on right now, where you're speaking about somebody who had input some shares that seem to be out of
On the form, that's like,
yeah.
Let's see,
Yeah.
1,
And you're just kind of double checking that.
3.
Be more
Yeah,
than Berta, yeah.
yeah, it's
Yeah,
a
yeah.
lot.
Okay, got you. Yeah, well, that wouldn't be surprising. I've heard that there's, outside of what would be the 4 biggest holders, there are some people that are in between, probably above Berta and in between maybe, a couple others. I'm just saying, that's word on
Yeah,
the street.
I thought there was like 7 total in that whole 55 million.
But I mean, if you're just.
But I don't remember
somebody-
this name.
If somebody's holding more than, yeah, I get you. I know what you're saying. If somebody's holding something
they
more than
can't-
Berta, that would be, I wouldn't know. I'm
But they
just saying.
can't be. They can't
Yeah.
because don't you, after what, 5% or whatever, you have
No,
to.
because they could be holding it in multiple LLCs. They don't have to necessarily report that, if I understand. So
I
you
don't know.
wouldn't.
This
you wouldn't
is showing
necessarily-
TD, Ameritrade, and Fidelity. So,
Oh, I see. Okay, well, that's interesting.
well, now that being said, they could have multiple accounts at each.
Correct, and
right?
that's what I'm getting at, and I was gonna back up on that. So what if you had 14 accounts and 2 brokers?
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know. So go ahead, Edward.
Yeah, 100. You could go ahead.
Oh no, I just wanted to. I mean, this is speculation, but I kind of in agreement with Russ with NextBridge. If it does come back tradable, you have a stronger case for a better valuation, not just because of the asset that's behind it, but because of the level of institutional ownership that would want it, which would secure your valuation, at higher price ranges. See, right now, you're probably considered an OTC stock where you don't have that institutional support. But once you get to a certain level, it's a whole different ball game. And then on top of that, your new share structure will probably be on a ledger similar to what Overstock has done, right? So it's actually you're strengthened if you come back into the market at a later time. That's all I also wanted to share.
Hey, this is Jeff. If I could just address that, I think the most insightful thing we heard about what's going to happen with NextBridge was George P. in the August MMAT earnings call when he said that the plan was, as it always has been, to sell the asset. And if you look at basically what's been created, this is exactly what an acquisition target would be. You've got a clean company that's got basically now it's got zero liability since McCabe was willing to take the well, I guess there's a little bit, but you're looking at instead of acquiring a company that's already got pre-existing agreements and with all these other things, this is the wet dream of an oil major. Now, you'll remember in the S2, I think it was the Second Amendment that came out where they said there are no current negotiations underway or whatever. Current negotiations do not include letting potential buyers come into your what's called a data room to look at it. And there is absolutely no doubt that NextBridge has been pursuing this. Now, the only way that they would deviate from this is if this whole idea of selling shares to let shorts out of their position and then them getting a whole bunch of cash. But you got to understand this. If they did do that and they got a whole bunch of cash, that makes them less attractive to a buyer because they're going to have to, they would probably just have to distribute it to the shareholders and go through this process. blah, blah, blah. My feeling, and also if you want to go public, that also takes time as well. Oil majors, an oil transaction is based on the average closing spot price of oil over the previous 12 months. And we've seen a decline in it, okay? The reason that Torchlight chose MMAT in the first place, or Metamaterials, is because they knew that Metamaterials would let them take their time, because they were, McCabe and those guys were hoping that the price of oil was going to go up, which it did. Because you got to understand, it's exponential, the valuation. Because if it costs you, let's say, $35 a barrel to, that's your cost of goods, and you're getting $40 a barrel like they were, you're making $5 a barrel, right? But if the price goes up to, say, $80 a barrel, then you're making $45 a barrel. So even though the price of oil is only doubled, your profit has gone up, what is that, 900%? It's gone from $5 to $45. So that exponential return in the valuation is why they chose Metamaterials, because they were going to let them take their time, and they obviously have. It's starting to come the other way. We see what the spot price of oil is. It's not what it was. It could go up. It's still really, really nice. But my personal belief, the intention in June of 2021 was to sell the asset, and it was only if it wasn't sold to spin it off. I do not see this either A, becoming a company that develops the asset themselves, other than possibly drilling enough to get it proven instead of unproven reserves. I don't even know if they're going to do that. I think you're going to have an oil major that doesn't want it proven, because that's going to cost them more. They're sitting there. They know that, you guys got to understand, the Oro Grande is untouched. Okay, back in 1920, there was one well outside of El Paso. This was the only. I'm sorry, I'm having problems with my son here. Oh, Ryan, you got to keep quiet. Go see mommy. Go see mommy. So my phone's okay. I've got enough juice. I can go here. So this one oil well out in El Paso, it was the only one that was actually drilled out there. And this was actually the basis of why Rich Masterson went and looked at this possible play. If you look at the geology from 150 million years ago, this is basically an entire new basin. The Oro Grande could actually hold more than the Permian Basin does. And the test wells there are actually producing at a higher rate than the existing ones in the Permian Basin. I don't think that they're going to, if you look at the crew of who's selling it, it's just a skeleton sales crew. I don't see it going public. I actually would see a sale. I think Bird Lady has a bet with Elephant Idiot that, the guy who always does the FUD on Seeking Alpha, that if it's not sold by March of 2023 for something ridiculously low, like $500 million or something, that she would wear an elephant outfit or he has to wear a bird one. I think it may come even quicker than that. And I posted, if you go on my page, I posted the part of the recording from Rosa last night and also John Berta, where they talk about, would any potential litigation interfere with the sale of the asset? And it's a very, very clear no, because the litigation is not against the company itself. So this is just my own personal belief. I don't see this, because of what George said in August, because of what the process of going public would entail and the time, and because time is of the essence. I see this just being wrapped up with a bow, a beautiful, clean company with nothing but an asset, no previous agreements or anything, boom, and just sold. The only thing that might throw a monkey wrench in it is if this whole idea of letting the shorts out by selling them hundreds of millions of shares and ending up sitting on a ton of money, then they may decide, okay, now we're going to want to develop it ourselves. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, that They would be able to at that time. If they have a bunch of cash, they would have to distribute it. This is only my own personal opinion. Bird Lady thinks she has a bet on March of 2023. I'm going to say, and this might be crazy. Well, not crazy, but I'm going to say before Valentine's, you have a sale, because we've known this is coming. The oil majors have been in the data room, and that's not negotiating. That's just giving them the data for this. And this is an untapped, as big as the Permian, over this like little lumps of hills toward El Paso, goes down into Mexico. And if you guys look at who's on this, the reason this play is so profitable is because of the advances in technology of lateral drilling. And the lateral drilling, in fact, the people that are on this, that are selling it, were on the world record setting well, which was called Hayes. It was in Ohio. It was 18,000 foot laterals for drilling. What that means is this: you only have to have a rig. If you got laterals that go out 18,000 feet, which is what, 3 miles, you only have to have one rig every 6 miles to get your full coverage. And these layers are 500 to 800 feet thick. They're multiple layers. There could be additional pay zones that are in there. If I'm an oil major and I'm looking, it's got oil, it's got gas, it's got the water on it. You've got the Kinder Morgan pipeline going through the property and adjacent. I mean, this is an acquisition wet dream. And the way that they're going to acquire it, which is another reason that I'm not looking for cash, is everyone talks about, shares of, whatever. Here's how oil companies do it so that they don't dilute their shares. They do buybacks like Exxon's had. And on their balance sheet, they have got hundreds of millions of shares of Exxon right now. Instead of issuing new shares, like they have 4.12 billion outstanding shares. They don't need to issue another 165 million shares in order to buy it. They've already bought them back and they're sitting on the balance sheet. And then all that they're doing is they replace one asset, which is their own stock, and they put this asset on there. So my own personal opinion, I think that this is just being wrapped up with a bow to be sold. And if it's sold and it's shares in the buyer, and we don't know, whoever it is, that's not a taxable event. And I could sit on dividends and just, feast on those as long as I want to. And no potential litigation is going to interfere with the sale of it. Again, if you go to my post or to my page, look at my tweets, one of the things I do for the community, because I try and help in any way I can, is I go through these talks, I find the clips that are what I think are the gold, and then I screen record them, and then I post them. I mean, they're limited to 2 minutes and 20 seconds. But for me, even if you post a YouTube link and you tell them the time, people aren't going to go through and do it. So I just do that. If you look at those, so this is my own personal opinion, I think that the sale is not far away. I think there's a motivation to do it because of the spot price of oil. And it's a wet dream for an oil major. And, if I was going to guess, I think Exxon, ConocoPhillips, maybe Halliburton. I'm not sure on that, but I think that there would be more than one suitor. So my own personal opinion. Thanks.
Did you say something? Just a little joke. Hey, appreciate that. Somebody had their hand up. Who was it? Oh, David, what you got there?
Hey Jeffrey, I just thinking about what you say. Someone tell you that the flow being sold by 2 times. I think right now our estimate is like, based on the share count and the projection, is like 700 something million, right? If by flow they mean 500 million, which is kind of makes sense for me. And it's all speculation. I'll drop the mic.
Yeah, I agree with you. So here's the way that it works is people wonder, like, if there's 100 million short on the last day, how do you know that they're going to get 100 million in volume, the price just continues to go up until they get enough people that are willing to sell. I mean, that's it. That's how it works. So if they have 130 million in shorts and they're being forced to close their position, you are guaranteed there's going to be 130 million in volume on that last day if that's what it was. That's how the price action works. So people are always like, well, how do you know you're going to get enough volume for the short positions? Oh, if there are no sellers at $500, if it goes up to $1,000, you're going to find more sellers. So the price just has to keep going up until they find sellers.
Yep.
What are you doing, Mosey? Come on down here. You can hear me eating from a mile away. Right. You're up there sleeping at night. 2 o'clock.
Hey, Happy New Year, kid. Happy New Year, Kit. How are you? Can you hear me? Because it says I'm listener. Hello?
I can hear you.
Okay, it shows I'm a listener. Are we talking intrinsic value tonight?
Sorry, what?
Are we talking intrinsic value tonight?
Fuck, we'll talk about whatever you
Well,
want,
that's
Kit.
not, I just posted a little thing this morning. On the thought.
I'll check it out.
On the thought of the, well, I mean, I just posted a simple statement. But here we are in the new year. And if there was a back end bidder like I was talking about before, if there's anything updated on the value of what it is, and also talking about the oil markets, I got Mr. Joe Bastardi, his little video that he puts out every Saturday morning, and he's talking because I'm a big ETF guy, but I like to trade natural gas and WTI and things like that. So he really goes in depth. So he's talking about an MJO, the Julian oscillator, how things are going to start shifting. At the end of this month, it's going to get pretty bad because Texas right now is, well, today it hit 76 where I'm at. And we just had that one little 3-day period. And NG, the ETF, I think it's called cold. It's called cold, spelled with a K. It's really getting crowded now. And I'm waiting for a few more days and then I'm going to switch sides. But the value, excuse me, trying to think. Houston Wade talked about, maybe they're going to go short the oil market. I disagree with that because I could just see through the charts and the demand is going to start to spike probably the third week of January, especially natural gas, because now it's really come off of the $9 high. The only way oil drops is if the economy gets crushed.
What's the ticker for the natural gas?
The natural gas, if you're bullish, it's boil. If you're bearish, if you're bearish, it's cold. So the spot price, it goes right off the spot price. So there's usually a sweet spot that's in the Appalachia the lower Appalachia, if it gets cold there, you really see movement. And I've been trading this for 9-10 years. I've never lost because this guy, like I said, he sees things. The ocean temperature in the Indian Ocean will dictate what's going to happen the next 3 weeks in North America. So he says the cold spot right now is in Siberia, and it's going to swing over into these phases. If you go to Weather Bell Analytics, he puts out a Saturday video. He's very in depth. He's way ahead of a lot of forecasters. He's made me a lot of money. And most of his clients are oil companies and things like that, traders.
So do you think, I'm looking at Boyle right now, do you think it's like bottomed out?
Yeah.
It looked like I'm looking at the daily, and it looks like it's filled a gap from December of 2020.
Yeah.
I trade UNG, which is the American Natural Gas.
Yeah.
I just bought a whole bunch at 14 because that's where support is right now. And my price target is 36.
Yeah, I like the 3 times leverage. So the cold,
I got you.
Yeah, the cold ETF is really getting crowded, but I'm going to give it probably another week or so. He said, starting around January 8th, we're going to start going into this next phase, and we're going to be cold for the next 2 months. It's not going to be, I know there's snow in Buffalo and all that stuff. I get that, lake effect and all that. But we're going to go into a deep reversal that no one's, they haven't seen coming. No one's predicting anything just yet. I know we're going to get winter, but it's going to be especially cold in the lower Appalachia. And that is usually the sweet spot, because when it hits that, it then will travel up the coast and it hits New York City, and then, but this is going to be, this is going to be pretty much all the states, the lower 48, and Florida is close to that southern Appalachian area. So that's where we're going to go into this snap. It's not like a 2-day, 3-day snap. It's going to go in. It's going to trend for maybe 7-8 weeks. So NG price has really dropped to that point where, in probably the next 8 days, that gold oil's going to really bottom out, and then it's going to shoot right back up.
So, Kit, I'm looking at cold, like KOLD now.
Yeah.
You're telling me you think it's going to go down?
No, it's going to go up for another week, but it's getting very crowded, that trade.
I'm just I don't know. This goes up if gas goes down.
It goes.
Or do I have that
Yes,
backwards?
you're right. It goes up if the NG price, spot price, goes down.
How do I post pictures here? Because I want to post my Boyle, and it's showing that there's a demarker reversal indicator. That's the one that goes 1 to 9.
Oh no.
What's that?
Anyway,
I'm looking at this right now, man. Based on who's playing piano, I like that.
Anyway, Europe has, been very mild, and that's going to change too. And the LNG market's going to, prices are going to go, this higher demand, basically. But anyway, get back to next bridge.
For sure. I'm just looking at this, man, and it looks like it's going to squeeze.
Yeah, I'm in cold now. I'm not going to reverse till the 8th, which is
Dude, the MACD on the weekly and the moving averages look insane.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just posted on your post kit a chart of oil, and you'll see those 1 to 9 numbers that come up. For me, that's the best reversal indicator that I find.
Yeah.
It's probably good 3 out of 4 times. That looks to me like I'm going to buy oil, and I might not wait till next week.
No,
because the prices. Yeah.
No, I understand. I'm just saying, yeah, it's set up. The trade in coal is getting crowded. Once I see a reversal, like bring it down to 24, that's when I am gonna reverse.
I have a quick question. You mentioned Siberian, just a couple other things. I was just going to mention this again. I don't really know if this had anything to do with it, but I thought I might bring it up. But there's a thing called Siberia Protocol, which I've been hearing about, which is supposed to be, it's like the new money that's dealing with oil, and you're talking about all the horizontal drilling and everything, and there's ways to go, a whole different ways to do everything. And I thought maybe just if anyone had ever heard of that, maybe just mentioning it. But I know that it deals with oil and all of that. And there's a new protocol out. They call it Siberia Protocol. It's supposed to be like the third biggest crypto, something like that or whatever. So I just thought I'd mention that if anyone had ever heard anything about it, but I don't really know much more than that.
No.
So just thought I'd mention it.
No, I haven't heard of that. I follow rig rates and things like that along with when I trade. But the injection was very low and we haven't really used NG, natural gas yet. But I just wanted to get, I know I'm going off point with this whole thing, but just try to remind folks, from the FINRA notice on December 6th, it clearly states everybody gets a share that bought in by the 8th. Okay? They can't be backtracked at all. So they can't be lying. So they're gonna have to figure that out. But they're bumping in, now we're into this new year. Now they're bumping in to a real big problem if Big Oil does say something, okay, or we get an update on the operation, what else they hold. Now, I don't know. That's a good thought that that gentleman brought up about not wanting to reveal it, but it can work both ways on that. You're asking if you're going to get bought out, you're asking price way more. If they go with the purchasing, yes, so they could be a standalone company. Either way, it's a win-win. It's just the brokerages and everybody else that tried to hide the shorts are really going to be in. I mean, they're really every day they're wasting. They're taking a big risk. So.
I was just thinking about it. I think they're hoping for a quick sale because if they do have one, all that they'll have to do is pay off the fake QSIPs, give it whatever the price is, and nobody knows anything for the worse. It would be problematic if, say, it was a company that bought it with shares. Then you might see 200 million Exxon shares purchased on the open market or something like that. Now that I'm thinking about it, that's what the shorts are hoping for is a quick sale of NextBridge. Because if they can just pay off those fake QSIPs, so let's say there's 500 million shares out there, the buyer of the property will pay for 165 million of them, then the other 335 million will simply be paid by the shorts. And it'll hurt them, but their bullshit won't be exposed and they can walk away.
Yeah. Well, I heard a snippet of what Mr. Berta talked about, that he said something about forensic auditors are standing by and ready to go. Now, I'm just trying to read into that, and there's something going on here. There's something going on to where we don't know about, but every time he comes on, I mean, I know you guys invited him on and everything, but I'm just taking a cue from some of these little snippets from a lot of folks, and maybe there is going to be a corporate action going on, but I don't want to. I just want to stay out of the gray market right now because I didn't like what was happening with the placeholders and things like that. And if they did a gray market, it's just saying that they're guilty. But that was just a scenario anyway.
If I could,
So
if I could for a second, just to answer you, can you hear me?
yeah, yes.
Gray market, I mean, that would be wonderful just to satiate our bloodlust at this point in time. If you get me, Berta has contacts that we don't have and has insight into things that we don't have insight into. And at this point in time, he's the closest thing that we have to, pardon my French, fucking Jesus, to guide us through this dark time we're in. I'll get it out.
Oh, that's. I mean, he knows a whole lot more than we do. He can only briefly give hints. I mean, I don't like talking on spaces because it's not secure, but there's something as we're gonna find out something because the pressure. He must know that the pressure's they're gonna face some serious pressure now, and they don't want those books open.
Well, let me tell you one more thing. Nothing is secure these days, dude. We're working on digital devices. Everybody's watching everything we're doing. If you look at what China's doing with their merits and their social merits and all that stuff, nothing's secure. Like, just whatever is, it is. Like, it's gonna happen. So don't stress out about it. Just don't do illegal things when people are listening, I guess.
Yeah.
So here's what I think the shorts are hoping for. This is the best outcome that they can have at this point. They stall this out or whatever, drag this along until NextBridge is sold. And then they basically just pay for whatever NextBridge sells for through the fake QSIPs to all of the short positions. The accounting is never exposed. The naked shorting is never exposed. People get paid, and once they get paid, they're going to be just like, because you won't know if NextBridge sold, unless I'm just throwing a number out. William Ferran loves to say $106 a share. Let's say it's $106 a share. So that means that the oil company pays $16 billion. The shorts pay, roughly about $35 billion or, whatever it is. Nobody knows who is along, where they're getting paid from. All of those liability QSIPs disappear, and it's gone, and nobody's seen anything. That, to me, is what I would see if I was short as the best case scenario there is. I don't know if that is what is going to happen, but I do know the way to facilitate that is to stall as long as possible with the hopes of NextBridge selling, because that's their escape right there.
That could take years.
That
could take years. I don't think they're going to wait that long, because even if they do have the sale, the sale itself could take a year.
No, so the sale, like when Shell sold to ConocoPhillips, it was announced on September 29th. The escrow closed on December 1st. Generally, they take the least amount of time would be 6 weeks. The most is going to be 12 weeks. And normally that one took just about 9 weeks, which is about there. If the sale did happen in January or so, you're talking about a payout
or let's say, bird ladies or whatever. You're looking at so end of September 29th was when the shell sale was. It closed on December 3rd. So that's October, November. It was basically 2 months. It's not going to take years and years, especially with this sale, because the asset being acquired, there are no pre-existing agreements with suppliers or debts that are really owed to anyone other than McCabe for peanuts. I mean, when you're looking at what this is, I think this escrow would actually be a lot faster than when Shell sold the $10 billion to ConocoPhillips last year. I'm just looking from a shorts perspective. If they could drag it on, if the sale did come early, that would be their way out. And the SEC would love to facilitate that and just tell them to pay what the sale price is. And this is why I think they were always asking in the amendments for the S1. There was stuff coming up that, the shorts are wanting to know what the asset is worth. What is it worth? And it was kind of puzzling. Like, why would they be, wanting to know that? They can't carry into a private company. Well, their game plan is, as far as I can see, make fake QSIPs, hope that not everybody ACATs over to AST. Just keep it telling people that they have it or whatever. Have your obligations warehouse, get the next bridge sale, and then pay it out, pay all the fake QSIPs, and nobody knows anything. This is just me thinking if I was on now they're going to lose a hell of a lot of money because all these shorts were opened at between $1 and $12, and they're going to end up paying probably triple figures for everyone. But it's going to be a hell of a lot cleaner than if it ever got on the open market. Now, if Rosa opens the open market, then they're going to be blown up. But I'm just talking from, that's why you would make your fake QSIP that's only specific to you, in my estimation.
So what happens with the people who don't actually get NextBridge shares and they're bought out for the price that NextBridge is worth? They're losing out on all those dividends. So you're still
when NextBridge sells
a class action lawsuit after that. You're still 100%.
No, when NextBridge sells, your NextBridge shares disappear and you get whatever the purchase was made with, whether it be cash, whether it be stock, or whether it be cash and stock.
Yeah, but they'd be diluting huge.
No, they wouldn't, because they do this all the time. If this dividend was just cash and they knew what it was, all the short positions would do would be to pay what the dividend is, and they're fine. So no, it wouldn't dilute anything because let's say there's 165 million shares, but there's 500 million total. The purchaser is going to pay for the 165 million shares, and then whatever the short shares are, 325 million or whatever, those are paid by whoever has a short position. So there is no dilution. Everyone gets paid the same amount.
But then people are getting paid out of their shares. They're not.
Well, this is what's going to happen with NextBridge when it's purchased. When NextBridge is purchased, your share disappears in NextBridge, and in its place is whatever the negotiated sale, whatever they negotiate for the sale of the company.
That would be dilution, because then you would have to dilute the company 300 million shares or whatever that over.
So follow me on this, okay? This is how they do this, okay? So if there's 165 million shares, they sell it for $100 a share, and let's say the Exxon buys.
Not 165 million shares, though. You're talking.
Listen, stay with me. Exxon's going to pay the $16 billion, okay? Everybody that has a fake QSIP is also going to get paid $100 a share, okay? But that's not going to be paid by Exxon. That's going to be paid by the people that have the short positions. So there is no dilution. And that's why they do this. And so I'm not sure does that make sense to you?
No, not at all, because in the beginning they're only supposed to have 165 million, and in the end they're going to have 5 million plus. It doesn't matter how many shareholders you have.
You have 165 million, and everyone gets paid $100. Everybody.
So 500 million people plus, or 500 million shares plus.
All 500.
That's not the same thing. I mean, I get what you're saying.
Get paid $100. 165 million of those are from the purchaser. The balance are from whoever is short.
No,
but
the issue
everybody
you're gonna-
gets paid.
Yeah, the issue you're gonna have is the people in Nextbridge would be getting a stock swap more than likely. And you're saying they would pay cash,
Right.
which is a non-taxable dividend.
Right, so
so
that
you
would
got
be
an
the
issue.
issue. If it was Exxon shares, you would have to see 300 million shares of Exxon.
Exactly,
purchased.
dilution. That's 100% dilution right there.
No,
Are you
no,
saying
no.
that?
They
Are you
don't
saying
own
dilution
Exxon
because
shares.
of
That
the
would be
years?
purchased.
No, because you're only supposed to allow 165 million shares. Instead of that 165 million, you're allowing 300 million plus.
So if they bought
Exxon's
with
not gonna
Exxon
play this.
shares, if they bought with Exxon shares, everybody would receive Exxon shares. 165 million would come from Exxon itself. The other 300 million, if this is how they would close it, would have to be purchased on the open market by the short positions and paid to the holders of those short positions.
Okay, I get it now.
And I don't know that that's what's happening, but I'm just saying if I was.
But then you put them right back on the open market, and they're just gonna have their revenge on the open market again.
Hang on, Abe 100, comment.
No, I think he's absolutely right. I think I'm not even sure if this is the right term. I think it's called receivership. Whoever the shorts have to pay at the end of the day, they're the ones that are responsible for that imbalance.
It's called
right? Or
it's called payment in lieu. If you hold fake shares, you get payment in lieu. Jeffrey, I'm sorry, correct me if I was wrong. Our MNTOP is actually voting share. If we don't want to that short get away with this, we can just vote down the sale, right?
I don't know.
I would bet so. You're voting shares.
Right? We are voting shares. So if we don't want to that short get away with this, we just vote down the transaction. Simple.
But if there's no shares in our account, they're just placeholders, how can we vote?
Well, that's what would blow them up. And that's what was suggested to Berta was they hold a vote that's trivial on anything like, hey, what logo do we want on this? And if you've ever voted through your brokerage, they send you the little electronic thing where, you vote on it. There could be some fuckery where they tried to hide it at that broker level, but that would be the way to blow it up, is to expose that. Because here's the other thing. People talk about, Nextbridge could sell them shares and everything, and it's only up to 500 million shares that are allotted. Let's say that there were a need for more than 500 million shares. That definitely requires a shareholder vote. And I have no idea how they would pull that one off.
If Richard is here, I'll ask him, can I file injunction to hold the sale? Until this bullshit is sorted out.
Yeah, I do. They can't do that. If there's a sale, the shorts cannot replace whatever by giving you the shares. It's not a tax-free exchange. They can't do that.
My thought is that they would have to give you shares of that the rest of the people are receiving, which is the like in kind, which is the shares of Exxon.
No, it doesn't work. It doesn't work that way.
Just curious, that's all that.
No, it seems like it would be a good idea, but they can't. The
Hey,
shorts,
sorry to jump in. I gotta get Edward in here. I just need one person to drop out.
I'll drop.
He can take mine.
No, it's okay. It's okay. Mike, Dave's gonna go. 1 second, Gandalf. So sorry about that, Hollywood. Continue.
no, that's okay. If Exxon buys Nextbridge, there's gonna be an exchange, any documentation is gonna come from Nextbridge as a shareholder, and it'll be a tax-free exchange. There also could be some money involved, a lot of these things, it's shares and money, so you could get a share of Exxon and $1. And that's gonna be reported a certain way. The dollar is boot, that's taxable, the rest is an exchange. The short can't duplicate that transaction, it's impossible.
But if it was completely cash and not an exchange of shares, could they?
It won't be. It won't be
If it was
cash.
completely cash and it was an exchange of shares, could they? What I'm asking is it a tax-free event if it's cash? Because I completely agree with you on the fact that shares are a tax-free event. But if the purchase was made in cash, that's not a tax-free event.
There's
right?
no possibility that that would ever happen.
Right, there's no way no one has that much cash, number one. And number two, then you get into a problem where if you never got into Nextbridge, you would have a different way of tax reporting. They'd get caught.
Yeah.
And the bottom line is they would get caught, and they are not supposed to. This is a private company. It's not the same as a company that pays dividends. The short pays the dividends. They needed to be closed out. They would get caught.
I totally agree with you. I totally understand what you're saying. I'm just thinking from their nefarious side, especially if the SEC is complicit with them to brush it under the rug. I would say that someone like Exxon, if they did want to pay $16 billion in cash, they could. I'm not saying that they would, but and saying that would never happen. I think one of the great things we have to do is assume that things that could never happen might happen, because I never thought the U3 Hulk could ever happen. I
remember these guys, remember the two top guys want this to be a tax-free event, and Edward wanted to add into this here.
Go ahead, Edward.
No, I was just going to say, so, and I'm sorry, I just jumped in really in the middle of all this, and just correct me for what we're questioning right now, is can they basically pay out people if there's a potential buyer and they do know who that buyer is with a certain number, right? Is that the scenario?
Yeah, Jeff is saying, go ahead, Holly.
He's saying that if Exxon bought it with shares, the shorts could just replace the
Okay,
shares.
so yeah, that was a very important question that we looked into, and they can't do that, and here's why. and Rosa touched up on it. I talked with Richard too. It doesn't work even legally. When a potential buyer is going to come in, they need to evaluate how many shareholders exist for them to even conduct that transaction. Now, the issue is we don't even know how many shareholders there are because we're still all in limbo. So if a potential buyer were to come in and it simply wants to come and offer $30 billion and it's supposed to have a swap of shares, well, you can't even do that transaction until it's been established in the first place.
Yes, absolutely.
But that's the stuff that's being paid by Exxon itself.
Guys, today, I want you to find a mirror.
The $300 million that are in fake QSIPs wouldn't be part of their evaluation, would it?
Well, that's
the thing. When you just buy, and you don't want to just buy them out. Everybody wants an Exxon Mobil share. You can't just short buy you an Exxon Mobil share.
Hold on a second, guys. I think we're overthinking this just a little bit, because if you just want to stay in the litigation realm, it goes back to the state, right? How many shares are authorized? And you can only go by that. You can only go by outstanding. You can't go more than that. So legally, whoever the buyer is, they can only get what the state can give them, where the issuers allowed it.
You know what I'm saying? So whatever the imbalance is, that needs to be settled. It can't be bought in cash or any other instrument.
Exactly. And what happens is that if, let's say, they were to try and commit any nefarious acts and get all of the shareholders into another company, well, that company is gonna have a record also of it, and it's gonna create an imbalancement that wasn't supposed to be there from the beginning. So no matter what avenue you look at this, it's not feasible at all. The only way they could literally get out of this situation is going to be through nefarious acts, and they have to do a hostile takeover of ASD.
How could they do that?
Yeah, I don't think that's actually a possibility, man.
Well, they've proved you wrong. They've proved all of us wrong so many times. And that's the only thing I could think of, because ASD is the one issuing 165 million shares, right? Well, what if those numbers get mixed up somehow?
No, I could see how that's possible. It's highly improbable, but I can see how it's possible. And you would have a third party come in to whoever the private entity is and say, all right, you can buy them out, and then I'll buy you out, and then I'll take over. So let's just say the bill at the end of the day, total, right? Let's say the total is, let's say $16 billion, right? In total debt and valuation. So if you come over and you say, well, I'll give you 20 billion, but you know that nut is a lot bigger than 20 billion. You know that nut is going to be probably 500 billion. That's worth them putting out 20 billion. That's a hostile takeover from the back door. But you'll never know that because, you know, whoever the private buyer is would have to agree to, and they would probably put a muzzle on that person. You know what I'm saying? That you wouldn't be able to talk about it. But it seems to me that the management of the private entity, NextBridge and company, don't want that. They wanted this on the up and up. Otherwise, they wouldn't go through all of this. You know, they wouldn't put up this fight the way that they're doing it. So it's highly improbable.
This is kind of related. John Berta talked about when there was first the merger and spinoff. They were approached for $500 million to buy the asset. And they were fairly convinced that the buyer were the guys that were short on Torchlight in the position. And they obviously turned it down. 500 million is not even close. But George did make a tweet about that, and then Berta did mention that he believed that the offer for the Torchlight assets for 500 million. I don't know. I think it was before the spinoff. I don't remember when, but he was fairly
before the spinoff.
It was before, yeah.
All right. So if that is true, then you have evidence of an attempt of a hijacking, right? And if Berta is aware of that, and if this is true, then he knows that he's not going to put himself in that situation. And anybody that's whoever's part of the private entity and their leadership, they know the situation. So this is it's very improbable.
George clearly posted and he laughed at them when he turned down that offer via a tweet. So yeah, that was a public tweet.
But was that before the merger or after?
It was after the merger, I believe. Yeah, I believe it was after the merger, the original merger. I can look it up. I took screenshots.
I'm just gonna go look at it. Go ahead.
So their plan would have been, if it was after the merger, they could have closed all of the Series A preferred that they owed, and then paid off with the balance. I'm not sure, but yeah, I remember that tweet.
And guys, I don't know if this is kind of off topic or not here, and I'm not trying to go down the path with any of the other stuff from the other day, but I just wanted to mention this. So when I did get that phone call back from supposedly Mark from Meta,
himself. Besides the fact that he hung up on me, it was it seemed very unprofessional to call from the jump. He was so adamant. He continued to tell me over and over and over that MMAT1 and that MMTLP have never, and he kept saying this, if this was actually Mark calling me back, that MMTLP and Meta have never had any association with each other. And that was like beyond weird to me. And he continued to say that, quote, MMAT1 and the Series A, that they have never had any connection to MMAT. And I just felt that was very odd.
It was June 21st, and it was dead square in the middle of the merger that he posted that.
Yeah, I knew it was close, but I was certain that it was before.
Okay.
If that's true, then there's another attempt of a hijacking.
I remember that because the timing on it was, I remember it being just prior to, and we don't know when that offer was made, but he made the tweet before, and I didn't know when exactly he had it. He was discussing something that was made, could have been 2 months earlier.
Yeah, I think the merger was June 24th, right? So that would have been before.
25th or something like that?
Yeah, maybe I might be giving the ex-dividend date because that's the only one that mattered to me when I was buying.
It's very interesting stuff, guys.
It was a Friday, it was the 25th, he closed early, remember? June 25th was a Friday, and I think he closed it 3 days soon, it was supposed to be Monday the 28th.
So they were definitely offered before, and then Berta, just a few days ago, he did say they were fairly certain that those were the guys that were short in it, trying to do that. I mean, it's a
Why would
variation.
anybody offer you $500 million otherwise?
Well, that's not the thing. What's funny is that you're getting paid masters that come up right now, right? And they look at the book value based on the S1 and they tell you it's worth 45 cents, right? Well, if you look back and go back to that same instant, they were offered $500 million. Well, clearly there's inconsistencies between what they're saying back then and what they're saying now.
That would have been $55 a share, correct?
Well, it's not about the number that we're talking about right now. It's more of why did that happen in the past and why is this happening now?
No, it would have been like $3 a share. And so they would have made all of their money because they shorted Torchlight way higher than that. So their idea was that they could get it for 500, then they would just not have to cover those shares, and then for the balance of them, they would just pay out $3 or whatever.
Correct.
And they would have the asset.
I'm just curious, what state did Rosa file her complaint in?
Northern District of Florida. And she's
why not Nevada?
Because she's a resident of Florida, and she's filing on her own behalf. And they have offices there. FINRA has offices everywhere. So
I'm curious. I'm curious because Nevada would give you the strongest possible outcome.
Yeah, that's been discussed, and we don't know anybody in Nevada, and nobody, obviously somebody's going to step up, but yeah, they're filing within like Richard's done in California. I don't know about the Nevada part for him, what whether that's feasible, but I think it's residency possibly, I don't know.
You have to live there or have a business office.
Yeah, the substantial part, right, yeah, thanks.
Yeah, you can't just file there.
Understood. He's doing business as, basically.
I thought this was kind of funny too, was that at 12:01 a.m. on New Year's is when my TD account, magically my CUSIP just changed to a brand new CUSIP and showed my NextBridge hydrocarbons as the CUSIP in my account in TD Ameritrade. Right a minute after.
Well, the other that changed, mine was prior to that. That was a couple days ago in the afternoon, I think it was, or something like that. TD Ameritrade.
Did you notice that TD also has now since sent mail saying that they're no longer they're just a broker dealer only now. They do not provide any
Correct.
advice or anything like that.
With that going into Schwab, they backdated the letter. Kit brought that up, or I think Kit did it with somebody, but it's been backdated to the November 14th or something to that effect, and they sent it out in December. But yeah,
they backdated it. How
hey,
fun.
Magnificent, what's up? Hey, Magnificent, go ahead.
Hi, Happy New Year. Thanks for having me in.
Happy New Year, bro.
About the TD Ameritrade change of CUSIP this morning.
Yeah.
I called them on it. I called TD Ameritrade because it showed on my account too, on the cost basis. You go to your cost basis.
Right.
I mean, the CUSIP change, but on the
So you go to your unrealized gains?
correct. And
I'm bringing that up right now. Go ahead.
And it'll show you like a yellow highlighted part of it and writing that I'm able to, hold on, I saved it. It says important.
Okay, here, I'm gonna read it to you. Ready?
Right.
It says right now, under realized, before you can get to your unrealized gain loss, there's a yellow banner highlighted. It says important. I hadn't looked on there today. I was going to and forgot about it. It says important. Problematic or missing trade activity was found. Before continuing, run the Gameskeeper checkup. Now, what I will tell you is under the entire realized gain loss, it's blank right now. If I go to
Sorry guys.
No problem.
Busy Brands has sent you an invite. I don't know if you're in here.
Who's that?
I don't really want to do this, but yo, RJ, take off, homie.
I could go.
Talk shit about me again, buddy. I dare you. Anyway, continue, guys.
Thank you. Sorry.
Yeah, so I called them up and I spoke to the gentleman, and I asked, okay, this wasn't here yesterday. What's the reason now? You know, and I'm pretty aware of what's going on, so I just go straight to the point, please. You know, he said that it's just a change of CUSIP. It's nothing really major on their end. They're still waiting for AST to distribute the shares for NextBridge, and so hopefully this week they could do that. So I have an account at Robinhood as well, and from what Robinhood explained to me, they have one name in AST under Robinhood for everyone. That's what TD Ameritrade is doing now too. Is apparently everyone will be under the same CUSIP by this week.
Yeah, what's interesting is what's missing is everything in your realized gain, right? It's not your unrealized gain. Everything you have in there is gone. It says total adjusted cost 0, proceeds 0, gain 0, loss 0. So everything's gone on your realized, which I've been watching the symbol on, looking there to see, and all of a sudden, because I did do one swap at the very end of, I did a test. I sold 350 shares and bought them back, and so I would have that in my realized gain loss. And now that whole thing's blank with that banner. Just an interesting observation that unrealized. So something, and I knew something had to change in the realized gain loss. I was assuming something had to change in the realized gain loss section with regards to that ticker, and that's why that's blank but I don't know why or what's going on there, but something within that is what's causing the realized gain loss to have disappeared, but it's everything. It's not just a single line, it's the entire 9 yards,
Yeah.
which means it's in a, well, you know, and actually, that's interesting because it's because of the year change, right? Something with accounting. So I don't know what it is, but you're right. I'm just verifying.
Well, here's from the verbiage that he said, intrigues me, and you know, what happens if you only have this certain amount of shares that you're allotted to by, you know, DTCC or AST? You know, well, the gentleman said, well, what's going to happen is NextBridge is going to have to buy off your shares.
That's a long answer.
Okay. Well,
If I could for a second, step in, I had a conversation with Ally Invest last night. I'll mute for a second, but if I can speak, please let me.
Who's speaking? Where are you? Brandon?
This is Ron.
Hold on, I see it now. I appreciate it.
So if I can just intercede for a couple seconds. I had a lengthy conversation with Ally Invest, and the most important aspect of it, and I'll just, you know, just let it out here, was that I asked, will my shares be transferred to AST, and do I have shares of NextBridge? And the representative's response was, you should. And I said, okay, that's interesting verbiage. So your verbiage should have been, you will. And
yeah, you should, you could.
That's correct. And then he took pause. I guess he did not expect me to call him out on that. So at that point in time, I asked him to explain. He said, so this is a very interesting situation. This is not something that's happened ever before. Nothing we've ever seen. But what we're looking at right now is that, yes, if everything worked out as it's supposed to work out, you will. But right now, I can't promise you that it will work out how it's supposed to work out.
Who was that conversation with?
That's with Ally Invest.
And that was like the first agent that answered the phone call, or?
Oh no! So very brief background. I no longer am a member of FINRA, but I do hold 7 and a 66 and a 63. So like I do have a back.
I did not take care of any of the Christmas stuff today. Oh, well.
Around in this, I've worked in investment banking in the past, etc. But I do have knowledge in this, and when I made that phone call, I did have knowledge on this, and I don't know if I caught him up or if he just, I don't know. I'm pretty good at being, you know, friendly. Maybe he just liked me, gave me information he wasn't.
Give me a guess. I'm gonna close this because
So I'll mute back. if you
they
want.
get loud.
Sorry.
for those people
Love
who are
you.
on the run-up. Let's say OG Torchline just wants to, you know, make money out of to the run-up that was halted. If you got into NextBridge, and let's say this goes on the gray market or this goes on the settlement, can you sell your NextBridge shares?
Are you talking about the ones that were transferred to AST? Or are you just talking,